Talking about this matchup, I couldn't wait to get here, and I can't wait to watch this game unfold.
Round 3, why not?
I'm still bullish on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I really am.
They knocked us down.
And tonight is, I don't want to say it's the worst, but it's pretty bad.
But we ain't been knocked out yet. So how we're going to respond? Let's set it up, because we taking this fight the distance.
Highly anticipated. It's NFL royalty that we get a chance to watch.
Every man out here tonight got a pivotal role in this game right here. You focus on your job, you tell me.
We cheer on the floor to the beat, and they play it.
Brady's going to keep take it in for the touchdown. Here's a blitz and a shot.
You hear that sound? That's the sound of the melody boys. In the cut, in the ride. Tell them boys, get loud. Yeah, we coming through. Everybody better move.
See, it's about a mindset.
Give me all you got, man. This bigger than the playoff. We need to settle down. We work first. Always. We strike first. I said, see that dude, man. I said, all right.
Man, we at the on the floor to the beat, yeah, they play it. Up the road.
The ball is out. Tampa Bay has
on the floor to the beat, yeah, they play it.
Lay it all out there on the line. Tampa Bay, let's get live.
Evolution. Sports Talk Television live here nightly. All Bucs report. It's the Sports Lab. I'm your host, Jimmy Blake, giving you something to think about on tonight's show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Will you shut up and be quiet? Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television here, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. It's the Sports Web, or I should say the Advanced Auto Parts Sports Web here, as it's tough to say here on a divisional playoff matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Philip Swagler, our editor-in-chief here. And how do we start off the Sports Web? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense, as every Bucs fan right now looking to this matchup. Who will play the Green Bay Packers coming up in the NFC Championship game? We should know here at about 2 hours and 38 minutes, if you will. Once again, the Sports Web live here at the Deck Bar and Grill, and open phone lines if you want to talk about this matchup in general, because I know there's a lot of people who want to talk about it. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Once again, Bucs versus the Saints. How are you feeling today, buddy?
I'm feeling a little angry today, Peter. I'm going to tell you why. I want that defense to be angry today, Buccaneers defense. I want them going in the game. You go back and watch Remember the Titans, all right?
Yeah.
You get that whole speech by Coach at the end about, I want to see him gain another yard. I want them to remember the day they played the Titans. We're going to play the Buccaneers. I'm looking for Devin White. Devin White's going to be that monster on the field. I think gets that whole defense going. But they need to go out that locker room. They need to feel angry. Right?
Yeah,
they're not going to let the Saints three in a row them. Excuse me.
Absolutely. You have the Saints who beat them, of course, the first game of the year. And then also 38-3, which is, left a lot of bad feelings about this game coming into it. But, of course, this is the third matchup. We've talked about it. How tough is it to beat a team 3 times in a row? But on top of it, how tough is it to beat a Tom Brady team? Well, the Saints have that distinction because they're the only team in NFL history to beat Tom Brady twice. They're going for 3. Of course, you got to face Drew Brees. Everybody talking about the matchup with Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. Brees turned 42 on Friday, still playing at somewhat of a high level, although I would say Brady is playing at a much higher level. But again, at the end of the day, here's a quarterback in that second matchup, and I keep on going back to that because it wasn't close on Sunday Night Football. 38-3, over 200 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. So once again, this defense really has to step up today, and we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, and you kind of alluded to a little bit of what I was going to get at here with Tom Brady and the offense right now. I mean, they're playing probably the best offensive football you're seeing right now in the playoffs.
Yeah.
At the last quarter of the season, that's when you want to get hot. Okay, I wrote this in this little article about how Tom Brady's been the best quarterback since week 14. And you go back, you look at the stats, not only stats, you watch the games, watch how mentally strong he is, pulling off safeties, making sure his guys are running the right routes with his eyes, all that stuff you want to see out of those elite quarterbacks. That's been Tom Brady since week 14. And right now, this is a red hot offense. All right, Saints need to look out. They don't need to come in here saying, "Oh, same old Bucs." It's not the same old Bucs. It's a red-hot offense. Watch out. Yeah,
and you hope it's not the same old Bucs. And, again, you're on the Advanced Auto Parts Sports Web live from the Deck Bar and Grill. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons because I know the fans love that. I don't want to hear this today. That's for sure. Definitely don't want to hear this, although if you troll me, you will hear this. Definitely don't want to hear that. But we are talking about
playoffs.
Yes.
Playoffs.
Absolutely.
You kidding me? Playoffs?
Of course, the Bucs coming off a big win in the wild card weekend, 31-23 over the Washington football team. Tom Brady, 381 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. This team somewhat struggled defensively, if you will, against the backup quarterback in a Tyler Heineke, 306 passing yards. So they got their work cut out for him, as we talked about with Drew Brees. Not only Brees, but Alvin Kamara. But according to Ian Rappaport, the Bucs may be getting a break and catching the Saints at the right time because it looks like Taysom Hill and Latavius Murray, the running back, will not play in this game. So first and foremost, Devin White comes back to this defense. This defense should play a lot better than they did versus a Heineke. At least you hope so.
Yeah, definitely. Kevin Minter, like Bruce Arians said this week, he did a great job doing what he was supposed to do. I'm pretty sure he led the team in tackles. He had that huge tip on that interception there late in the game. It really helped the Bucs set up to win that game. But you're not only you're missing Devin White's speed, and you're missing his toughness. I mean, this guy hits. He hits pretty hard. You get in that mindset, or the opposite team, when you get hit by that, and you're like in your mind, like, I don't want to get hit again. All right, that was a big hit. That's what they were missing. And Kevin Minter, great job, but Devin White, you bring that nastiness and that toughness to that defense, I think.
Yeah, White, 140 tackles, of course, 9 sacks. So here's a guy that you could see definitely playing into the game plan. He has to play into this game plan along with the Levante David, because as we talk about, it's all about Alvin Kamara. But getting back to Ian Rappaport's report from NFL Network, Taysom Hill not playing in this game, Latavius Murray not playing in this game. Big time break for that Bucs defense, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Taysom Hill does a lot of things for the Saints, kind of sets them up, maybe tricks up the defense a lot. And you can see a lot of times that the Buccaneers defense has a hard time containing him. All right, those little stupid outside runs. Sorry for saying stupid. Those little outside runs that he does, which we all hate, that really beats the Buccaneers. And some of those different offensive looks that they get on the defensive side of the ball with Taysom Hill in there, it's really it seems like it's been one of their Achilles heel or whatever you want to, whatever the phrase is, whatever.
Achilles heel, absolutely. That has been definitely with Kamara leading the Saints with receptions with 85, of course. 5 touchdowns, explosive weapon out in the passing game, also the rushing game. But we all know the prowess of this Buccaneer defense being number one versus the run. So once again, they're going to have their hands full. They're going to have to definitely shut down a Kamara, not only in the rushing game, but also in the passing game, because that's what the Saints like to do. They like to use their aggressive nature against you. They like to go screens. I wouldn't be surprised to see some type of will route at that point, Phil. So definitely, once again, they have their hands full with the Kamara because he's one of the best running backs in the league, and it doesn't necessarily have to do it with just rushing. He could do it in the passing game also.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing the Buccaneers defense needs to do today is they don't have to stop Alvin Kamara, okay? Yeah. I mean, that's a tall task for anybody. Sure. They got a limit to what he does today. That whether that's a run game, whether that's a passing game. Limit to what he can do, okay? You got to put an extra linebacker in there and an extra guy that can hold the contain on the outsides. You do that, but that's the guy you got to stop.
Now, with Bucs news here, I'll tell you what, let's get back to that. Let's go out to our phone lines. Let's lead it off here on the Sports Web. You're on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, of course, with yours truly, along with our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Okay, I'm not hearing him, so we'll get back to that in a moment. I tell you what, let's go out to Tom Brady and what he thinks about playing the New Orleans Saints here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
I've always said continuity is the key in the NFL because there's so many situations that come up on a weekly basis, and for you to have the years of experience with the play caller to think, oh, this is exactly how we're going to handle this particular situation on the fly, so you don't have to wait till Monday to correct it. I think situational football is really important, and you can't cover 1,000 situations every week because you're just guessing at what the situation will be. But, at least when I was, in my past, I looked at those and said, hey, remember this in 2014, the same thing happened, it was 6 years later. You can't really do those things. So, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, all those things are really important. And, they won the division. They're a great football team, great coaches, great system, so many great players. Their defense is phenomenal, top 5 defense basically in every category. Great rush, great cover linebackers. They blitz well. A lot of continuity in the secondary, a lot of ball hawks in the secondary. They've been one of the top teams in the league for a long time, and they've had some tough playoff losses, that real fluke plays. But other than that, there's not a lot of bad about this team. They're pretty spectacular.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Philip Schwegler. Again, open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Going out to those comments and talking about him, he knows all about that would be Brady, greatest of all time. He has not necessarily played his best football versus the Saints. Of course, 2 touchdowns. The last game, 3 interceptions, and a total of 5 interceptions. So he's definitely got to raise his game, not turn over the ball. And he said it best. This Saints defense is definitely one of the top in the NFL, being top 5. You've got Marshawn Lattimore, who's given this Buccaneer wide receiving core problems. You got Janoris Jenkins, of course, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson playing head games of wide receivers. And up front, of course, with the Cameron Jordan and Taylor Hendrickson. So that's definitely going to be the matchup that you have to look at. This offense, which is coming in red hot right now with a quarterback that's confident and all his wide receivers that are finally healthy versus a top 5 defense that can really get after it. And we all know if you can get after Tom Brady, you can definitely force him into some throws that he doesn't definitely want to make.
Yeah, you got to look at this game and then look at the prior 2 games, okay? It was the first of the season. Not making excuses here or anything like that. You're going to bring in a new quarterback in an offensive system that has one of those, high risk, high reward type plays.
Sure.
And you're having a quarterback that doesn't ever turn the ball over, hardly ever, who's very methodical on the way he dissects defenses and throws the ball and whatnot. And then you see that second game that they play. First game with Antonio Brown on the field, okay? And we all know how that turned out. It wasn't great. Then you started seeing how Antonio Brown started really catching on to the offense, started getting his feet underneath him. And then you start seeing how explosive the offense could be. That's what the Saints are looking at today. They're not looking at, weeks 1 and 9 of when they played the Buccaneers. They're looking at a team with a bunch of offensive weapons that are now starting to really click on the same cylinders.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you what, let's go out to the webheads, read some of these comments from these guys. What's up? Let's go Bucs. Misador says LFG. Ben says it's our time. Absolutely. Say it again, divisional playoff. It is the divisional playoff for the right to play the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game as they took care of business versus the LA Rams yesterday. Misador, if you told me that at draft last year, I would be ecstatic. Misador again, leave no doubt. Brian says, go Bucs from Idaho, sending good vibes to our boys. Oh, yeah. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons right there. Go Bucs from Alabama. I guess that's Redevil, Alabama. So there you go. Send Breeze out on his Shield retirement party there. Ben says Hill and Murray are going to be game time decisions for the Saints. Good news, eliminate those weapons. And once again, for the Bucs going into this, they also have a game time decision themselves with Ronald Jones possibly not playing in this game. In your opinion, do you think they're going to play Jones? And is that okay to play Jones, especially with the way Leonard Fournette ran last week? 19 carries, 93 yards for 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I think he'll be active for today. I don't think they're going to put him on the actives list. I think it all depends on what Leonard Fournette does with the starting job there, because he's getting a start today. We all know, we heard that this week from Bruce Arians. If Leonard Fournette's having some success, all right, and they're moving the ball, running the ball as well as they can, I don't think Ronald Jones will end up coming into the game.
Yeah.
Now they start falling behind, and they need a little change of pace. A running back hits the hole a little bit harder than Leonard Fournette does, and yeah, I see him coming in. I don't see Keyshawn Vaughn really doing much today if they have both those guys in, especially with that fumble last week.
Well, it definitely depends on if Jones plays in this game or not with that quad injury. I'll tell you what, let's go back out to the webheads here. Score update, Cleveland Browns losing to the Kansas City Chiefs 16-3. There doesn't seem like there's any answer for this Kansas City Chiefs offense at this point.
The answer is you got to keep up with the offense.
Right.
That's the answer.
Exactly. Good stuff there. Misador says they didn't struggle. They fell apart. Would you agree with that with the defense? I mean, they fell apart. Again, they get a sack to end the game from Levante David. You also get an interception, deflection by Minter to Sean Murphy Bunting. But didn't nearly put enough pressure on a Heineke, and you can't do that versus a Drew Brees, which, look, their offensive line is very good. They keep him very clean. Only 13 sacks that offensive line has given up when it comes to Brees, starting total 29 sacks. So very good and big-time challenge for this defensive line to get after it.
Yeah, let's just look at historically what bothers Drew Brees. I mean, what bothers Tom Brady? It's going to be the same answer. It's that middle pressure that comes in the middle of the offensive line. If the Buccaneers can penetrate the front of the offensive line right there in the middle, then they have a chance at getting to Drew Brees. If they can't, especially with Devin White today, I think it's going to be the biggest X factor. I'm sure we'll get to that later on. But if you can get Devin White to play hard in the middle right there, that opens up for JPP and Shaq Barrett to really do what they do best, and that's get at the quarterback.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back out to David here. Let's go Bucs. Best game of the year. Put it together. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you. Sador says no Murray equals a winded Kamara. Ben says watching Brady mic'd up against the Washington football team was, I guess he's saying music to my ears. The communication between Brady and Leftwich and Brady and the O-line got me pumped. I can feel it. We're only getting better and better. Andrew says D-line has to get their hands up. Bucs report again. Drop your predictions in the comments. Absolutely. We'll take your predictions. And, of course, take your phone calls. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Live from the Deck Bar and Grill, as you can hear. I guess Browns fans in the background, Kansas City Chiefs fans back in the background, and also you're going to have some Bucs fans that are going to come out here, especially Webhead. So, again, 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs, it's Advance Auto Parts. Tell them Bucs Report in the Sports Web sent you. So there you go. Go Bucs, says Shane Misador says. Takes as many hits as you can on Breeze. if it's late, one, make sure you get the money's worth. Need some good. I'm not going to read that. Roger Shoe says, go Saints. And I say, you're a troll. How about that? Eric Moreno says 31-28 Bucs. Once again, call in now. Absolutely. Dominic says 25-20 Bucs. So there you go, Eric again. No way we hold Saints to 20. Ron says Mr. Peter Blake and the chef, one of the best chefs out there, Mr. Philip Schwegler, our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report. We'll have Blake Anthony coming on. We'll have Travis Faley coming on. We'll have Ozzy, the sports junkie, coming on. We'll have some breakdowns, of course, the winning angle from Blake Anthony, his perspectives on Donovan Smith, which should be interesting because we know how critical Mr. Anthony has been of Smith, and, of course, Tom Brady in his play last week, and Brian Baldiger of the NFL Network breaking down Rob Gronkowski. And there was an interview, and it looks like Rob Gronkowski is going to return for another year. You got to watch this breakdown, Phil, because really you could see the reason why the Bucs are paying him $10 million, not only to be a guy that's going to catch the passes, catch balls, catch touchdowns, but also be an inline blocker and how much he means to this offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, he owned Chase Young last week. I'll go ahead and say that. And you'll see that when we play this Brian Baldinger breakdown. But he's definitely a very vital part of what this offensive line has done for Tom Brady the last, I'll say, 5 weeks. They're on the 5-game winning streak. Absolutely. Let's go out to Isidore. Bucs Report, don't tell us what to do. Eric says, I heard Taysom Hill and Murray are going to be out. That's from Ian Rappaport again. That looks like that's going to follow. Sosa Man says, better contain Michael Thomas. You're absolutely right, because Michael Thomas last week finally healthy, and he's hurt the Bucs in the past, although Carlton Davis did a bang-up job versus him in the first matchup. In the second matchup, he didn't go off. So Michael Thomas, again, we talk about Kamara. You have a Jared Cook as a tight end. So once again, that secondary has to play a lot better than they have. A lot of people still looking at that Chiefs game and the Rams game and also the game last week. You can't give up 300 yards to a quarterback, especially a Drew Brees, and you cannot let him sit back there and have more than 3 to 5 seconds to throw the ball. Yeah, definitely. The defense needs to come out, and they need to play man defense. That's where Carlton Davis makes his money right there. Don't chop his legs out from underneath him. Don't put him in coverage. Yeah. Put this man on the line. Let them bump the receivers and really get that attitude, that nastiness right there up front. And you do that the whole game from start to finish, all right? That's how you beat the Saints right there. That's how you beat Drew Brees. Absolutely. All right, let's so once again, 31-27 says Arena. Ben says, got to win on both sides of the line. Yep. Kerry says Evans will have 100 and two touchdowns, the last laugh on Lattimore. Go Bucs. That's a playoff Mike Evans. All right? Well, that's a playoff Mike Evans, and that was with the story with his hyperextended knee. A lot of people didn't expect him to play in that game, let alone be active, because you watch that knee injury versus the Atlanta Falcons. It wasn't necessarily the prettiest thing. So for him to go over 100 yards receiving and really be a big part of this offense was tremendous, but it always comes down to matchups in the NFL, and Marshawn Lattimore has definitely won that matchup, even tweeting out, 4 targets, no receptions. 4 targets, no receptions. That's where your offense is predicated on, in my opinion, and that's why this offense has gotten better, because it seems like Tom Brady has developed this chemistry with an Evans. Can he do that today, Phil, in your opinion, versus a Lattimore? I don't think so. I think Mike Evans will have a better game than he has in the past, and I'll tell you why. They have Antonio Brown. They have Scotty Miller. 2 guys you have to account for that can take off the top of the defense. That means Mike Evans might get those one-on-one matchups. He might get those, no-look matchups where he's just wide open and you throw them to him. And we haven't seen Mike Evans in the playoffs against Marshawn Lattimore. He broke a Buccaneers record last week at Washington for most receiving yards on a postseason game in franchise history. I think he brings that into the Saints game today. I think he's going to have I wouldn't say an over 100-yard game, but he's going to have a pretty decent game. I mean, you look at Evans last week, 6 catches for 119 yards. Of course, for the year, 70 receptions. The first receiver in NFL history to have 7 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons, surpassing a Randy Moss. 13 touchdowns. For me, he's definitely going to have a big game, but if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. You have a Chris Godwin last week, 5 catches for 79 yards, but uncharacteristically dropping lots of passes, including 5 drop passes.
had a touchdown. So could this be a day that if Evans is basically shut down by Lattimore or bracketed by that Saints secondary, that possibly a Godwin has a big day, or even an Antonio Brown, who's gone 4 straight games with a touchdown now, had a touchdown last week, of course.
Yeah, I definitely think the way the offense has been playing the last 5 weeks or so, they're too hot, I think, in my opinion. They let the defense bracket them out. That's what you have Leonard Fournette there, who had a great game last week in the passing game. You want to bracket all the receivers, fine. We'll dump it off to the running back in the middle. Then when you start keeping the defense a little bit honest, that's when you start taking your shots of Mike Evans to the Chris Godwins. As far as Chris Godwin, like you said, uncharacteristic. It's not going to happen today. First playoff game, first time he's really had to take a bigger role in a big game like this because of what Mike Evans was doing on the other side. So.
Absolutely. One of these receivers today really has to break out, and I think it's got to be Evans, but I'm not sure if it is. Although you look at the PFF grade, I know that you do a lot of research on this, only a 57% PFF grade for Marshawn Lattimore, but we know that he's a top Pro Bowl player, that he's always given an Evans fits. So we'll see. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson concerns me. Not only is he a talented player, but also he seems like he's doing Dennis Rodman stuff by getting into wide receivers' heads. So in your opinion, do you think an Evans, a Godwin, and of course a Brown don't work into that where they get kicked out of a game for punching him? Because we saw the Chicago Bears basically last week with Anthony Miller get kicked out of the game. Mims, who dropped the touchdown, versus the Saints, who struggled for 3 quarters against the Bears. They really did. So I think right now, both of these teams, trajectory-wise, the Bucs are the hotter team. You feel more confident than you feel with the Saints team, who, I get it, they have a Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees, who just turned 42 on Friday, but he's still banged up. You still have guys offensively. If you're missing a Taysom Hill, if you're missing a Latavius Murray, that takes away from having that extra option for Kamara. So to me, the Bucs are catching the Saints at the right time. Although we talk about Michael Thomas, but going back to it, do you think these wide receivers are going to be prepared and not get into that basic trap where they get kicked out of the game because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is starting stuff with them?
Yeah, I can guarantee you right now that Bruce Arians has had multiple meetings with the offense on how this is going to work out. He even mentioned it this week in his press conferences. He even mentioned that he's going to talk to the reps, or he needs to talk to the reps, or somebody needs to talk to him about not letting that get out of hand. Because, like, as soon as that happens, you lose a key player like Mike Evans, that could cost you the game, like it kind of costed Chicago last week. But I think these guys are going in there with one thing on their mind, and that's going to Green Bay to go to the NFC title game. Now,
the Bucs are not coming into this game injury-free. We talked about Ronald Jones possibly being a game-time decision, but the other big news is Alex Kappa is going on the IR. So Aaron Stinney, his first NFL start. Of course, we talk about the line with Cameron Jordan and Hendrickson, and you also have Sheldon Rankins and Omaraya. So that's a tough matchup, and it's always given the Bucs fits, and that's what it comes down to. This line doing such a great job last week. Donovan Smith against Chase Young. You give up 3 sacks, but that was more of Ted Larson in that guard spot when he replaced Kappa. In your opinion, can an Aaron Stinney come in there, fill in next man up mentality, or could this offensive line once again, just like in the previous 2 matchups, struggle to protect Tom Brady?
Yeah, I really don't think he has a choice. He kind of has to live up to what the game is right now. But there's ways around that, right? You put a running back there. You maybe get 2 sidecars, maybe pull Cameron Brate as a fullback or something like that. We haven't seen the Bucs do that this year. At least I haven't, not that I remember. But there's ways to kind of give Brady that extra help. But I just think they have enough pieces on the offensive line, even with missing Alex Kappa, that a Stinney can go in there and do a bang-up job and help protect Tom Brady.
All right, so it's the Sports Web here live at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla de Sol, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report, Mr. Philip Schwegler, one of the best chefs I know out there. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to the web heads here. Again, Evans will have 100 yards, 2 touchdowns the last lap on Lattimore. I like it. I got to bang Drew all day. Kamara can't run and catch successfully. We got to take one away. Rena says, Gilmer.
I think he's tagging somebody in the post.
Yeah, I think he is too. All right. Debbie Powers Phillips. All right. Appreciate it. I don't see Miller getting much spin at all today. Misador says AB and Brate should have solid games today. That's one of the tight end. We talked about Gronk and being an inline blocker and the plays that he can make, but he was more of a blocker, an extra offensive lineman, which you could see that happening today on that right side or possibly the left side because Hendrickson has definitely given Donovan Smith fits, although Smith has played better. But Cameron Brate last week, 4 catches for 80 yards and 1 touchdown, right? I mean, I'm sorry. Cameron Brate, 4 catches for 80 yards, no touchdowns. It seemed like he did, but he was a man on the spot. Another weapon for the Bucs to definitely go to.
Yeah, everyone always talks about having that locker room guy, the guys that are good for the locker room. Gronkowski's good for the locker room. That guy blocked his butt off last week, and that helped Cameron Brate have a big game. Cameron Brate, this is his first playoff game appearance, all right? Had a huge day thanks to Rob Gronkowski allowing him to go out there and get those passes and not have to block on the line instead of Rob Gronkowski going out there and crying about where's my catches, where's my plays to go out and catch balls or whatnot. So definitely the whole dynamic of changing the culture and having all these locker room guys, that's a prime example, if you ask me.
No, absolutely, and it shows you the plethora, Leo word, of weapons that they have on this team. I hope that the defense brings their A-game, put pressure on Drew Brees, and for the secondary plays well because they have not been that good. I hope that Todd gets them ready to play and calls good defensive plays, and I hope he has a backup plan in case the first ones don't work. Go Bucs offense. Please protect Tom Brady and give him time to find his receivers. Open holes for running backs. Mike Evans, don't let them get in your head and get separation from the defenders and go Gronk. Good stuff there by Raphael. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Let's go out to Harold. We don't have the defense that the Bears do. Hope this game isn't a shootout. Could you see a game becoming a shootout? Is that what the Bucs want it to be? Because right now this offense is hot. But again, knowing Todd Bowles and how much he blitzes in the NFL and how good Drew Brees is versus the blitz, this doesn't seem like one of those things you need to do a lot, but you kind of have to do it if you're not getting that pressure from the 4 guys up top, right?
Yeah, and I don't know the game plan or anything. This is how I'm thinking this game goes. The defense wants to show up. They want to shut the Saints offense down. They want to shut Drew Brees down. They want to shut Alvin Kamara down. They want to let their offense go on the field and put up 40 points. That's how I see this defense mindset going into this game.
All right, let's go out to Harold. We don't have the defense again. And then Ben says, love what Mike said about Chris. Stuck up for his brother and said only remembers the big plays he made. Godwin has so many solid games for us. I think he just let it get in his head a little. But I know he'll bounce back and dominate on his given opportunity. Expecting Ozzy the Sports Junkie on here in just a little bit. And again, your phone calls if you want to call in on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Getting you ready for Bucs versus the Saints in the divisional playoff matchup for the right to face the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler, here awaiting phone calls. So you're exactly right, Ben. That's a good comment. I tell you what, let's go out to Brian Baldiger of the NFL Network and his breakdown of Rob Gronkowski and how much he meant to that offensive line last week versus the Washington football team, and we'll come back and talk about it. Is he going to be an inline blocker today, or is he going to be a guy that catches passes and makes some big plays versus the Saints defense? Enjoy.
The Gronk played 55 snaps on Saturday night against the Washington football team, and he spent over half his night just blocking. And it didn't matter who it was. Montez Sweat, he took on all comers. I mean, it was like Gronk Island on Saturday night. He didn't get any help. Brady had time to get the ball out. It was over and over again. How about this seal right here on Sweat? Like the old little scissors play right here. Sealing on Sweat. So Fournette, you go for 9 yards. And then how about the block on Kerrigan right here? You seal on Kerrigan, okay? You seal it. Now you see Jonathan Allen come around. You get a little chip on Allen so that the ball can go to Godwin for 17 yards. A guy that never touched the ball influenced the game as much as any guy that did touch the ball. Like Chase Young had 7.5 sacks this year. Gronk put him on the island. He didn't get near the quarterback. It was over. We'll see over and over and over again. It didn't matter who he was up against. No problem tangling with Chase Young in the run game. Like, he's got him on one leg right there. He still has power. You watch this touchdown to AB right here. He's got Montez Sweat, who led the Washington football team with 9 sacks. He didn't get near Brady. Play after play. How about come on over here. Help out Donovan, seal with Chase Young, take it up to Holcomb. You know the way a guard and tackle seal. And then you just take them right off the screen. And Fournette goes for 8. How about this? He's going to seal down here with Kerrigan. Make sure he protects the inside. But then like a good lineman, feel the blitz. Like nobody got around the Gronk. He was impenetrable. How about this? You wonder why Cam Brate had such a big day? 4 catches, 80 yards, just went in motion? Because Gronk was handling the ends. He was taking the job of the offensive tackle. Look at this. A guy that didn't touch the ball once the entire night influenced this game as much as anybody that did. Like this is, look at this. See if you see Chase Young coming in your picture. I mean, Brady's holding us a long time. That's the arc. We call that the arc. He ran him around the arc the whole way so Brady could pick up 24 yards. I mean, total team player. It's just one play after another. I mean, I'm just putting some of the blocks in here. But look at this push here. Like Sweat isn't even looking at the ball. He's just trying to get the Gronk off him. This right here, I'm telling you, it's just Gronk Island. Like it's holiday season, you know, maybe a little COVID restrictions in some places, but get to Gronk Island. Like this is what it looks like. I mean, that's the face of the NFL, Chase Young. Look what he's doing to him. Like he's been an all-pro tackle his whole life. Completely shut him down. Not right here. Comes in motion. How about another seal job? Seal. All right. Once you seal him, then you get up to the second level. Fournette runs right by him for 17 yards. I mean, Gronk was a force. Watch this menacing block over here against 95. Watch what he does to him. Like he's back in the WWF. Was he a wrestler or announcer or whatever? Like he's back in the WWF, just throwing guys around. Get out of here, man. It's our touchdown. It's our end zone. Get out. Get lost. How about at the point of attack here against Kerrigan? All right. Little bounce outside. Seals the point of attack so Fournette can go for 13. What a night that Rob Gronkowski had as a blocker.
And that's what it comes down to. Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Philip Schwegler, our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report, live from the Deck Bar and Grill. Like I said, in East Ladeso, open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Going back to the breakdown of Gronk, how impressed have you been with him? And, you know, having an interview, looks like he's going to come back for another year. That's what he says. Definitely worth the $10 million that the Bucs are paying, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's just an overall, all-around great tight end. Blocks, catches, passes, great locker room guy, great teammate, all that stuff. I've been very impressed with Rob Gronkowski this season. And, I really haven't paid too much attention to them, other than what they play on NFL Network when he was with the Patriots. But, being able to cover him and see him week in and week out, I mean, definitely very impressive. I mean, definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer right there.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't even catch the balls in this game. I mean, he's not even a pass catcher, and he's having such a big impact. Where do you see him against the Saints? Do you see him being an inline blocker, helping out with the Donovan Smith because Smith has struggled with the Hendrickson? Or could you see him being some type of impact versus those Saints linebackers catching passes and making some plays?
Yeah, I think Donovan Smith has been playing some really good football this past month. So I think, if he can start out strong and hold his own, I think that's when they can start using Rob Gronkowski out there in the passing game. But I think it all depends on what happens there in that first couple series, all right? If, Smith's getting beat on the left side, you're going to have to put Gronkowski over there and then use Tanner Hudson, Cameron Brate, those guys to be your tight end catching passes. But like I said, pay attention to those first two series and see what the Buccaneers offense can do.
Again, Trey Hendrickson comes into this game 13.5 sacks. Sharing the league lead with, of course, an Aaron Donald who played yesterday, didn't play that much. And also Hendrickson having his own injury situation with the neck. So you kind of wonder how effective he's going to be in it. And as I talked about at the beginning of this broadcast, the Bucs are catching the Saints at the right time because it looks like no Murray, no Taysom Hill, and not necessarily 100% Hendrickson, but he's really given Donovan Smith and this offensive line everything they can handle this year.
Yeah, definitely. They need to come out there. They need to be the nastier side of the line of scrimmage, if you will. Okay, they got to start early. They got to get mentally in their minds, and just destroy them. I mean, that's literally what you have to do against a Saints front, and they did a great job last week. Washington is no scum, all right? That's a very, very good defensive line.
Second-rated defense, right?
Exactly.
In the NFL. I mean, how surprised were you that Smith and that whole entire line, even though they give up 3 sacks, 2 of those are on Ted Larson and also more coverage. Nothing out of Chase Young. All the talk was Chase Young, this defensive line, a Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, a Jonathan Allen. They're really going to get after it, but this offensive line has cleaned things up, and this is the reason why you can see a Tom Brady doing what he's done so well the last half of this season.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, all right? They've already taken care of, one of the top 2 their defensive lines in the NFL. They're going against another top tier defensive line. I don't see them falling off much here this week. I think they're going to play the same way that they played last week, and they're going to be able to contain for what Tom Brady needs, all right, the time that he needs to make the ball down the field. I think they'll be able to handle it.
All right, so it's a Sports Web here live on Bucs Report. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the web heads here. Dominic says halftime Kansas City 19-3 over Cleveland. Once again, no answer for Patrick Mahomes in this offense, and it looked like the Browns were going to score a touchdown. Guy lunges forward, and in a Browns manner, ball goes through the end zone instead of having a touchdown.
Looked like targeting. If you go back and look at it, looked like targeting.
Okay. Well, the refs didn't call it. Green Bay versus Kansas City in the Super Bowl. All right. You can feel that way. You can. Son of Israel says Bucs think they can win the championship with a trash defense.
Not a trash defense.
I don't think they're a trash defense, and I think anybody believing that you're better off without one of your defensive leaders in the Devin White is kind of naive at this point. I get it. There's improvements, especially in that back end with the Carlton Davis, a Jamel Dean, and a Sean Murphy Bunting, and they're going to have their hands full with some of the wide receivers you have today. Of course, we talked about it, Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and of course, the Deontay Harris, who's become a weapon. Yeah. That, to me, that's the scariest option there, especially if Sean Murphy Bunting is in the slot versus a Harris, because a Harris can stretch the field. I don't think they're a trash defense. What they got to be is more consistent. And then on top of it, Todd Bowles can't get out-coached by Sean Payton today, which means if you're going to a zone type of defense against a Drew Brees, that's a bad matchup. You're going to have to blitz. You're going to have to do it in some specific manner to get after him, and you're going to have to play aggressive on the outside, because if you play zone defense, I feel like Drew Brees in the two matchups has picked you apart.
Yeah, it would totally destroy, pick them apart. That's exactly the good point.
I don't think they're a trash defense. I just think everybody thinking they're the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not coming through the door. It's a totally different defense. Did you think the Rams were a trash defense yesterday? No, it was better offense. And on top of it, Donald being hurt for most of the game, they gave up 472. So you can't give up those yards, but to say they're a trash defense, there's worse defenses out there. I don't think it's a trash defense. They got to get after it. Shaq Barrett's got to get after it. JPP, it's got to get after it. If you stop the run, you have those situations where it's 39, 3rd and 12. You got to take advantage of it. You can't give up long third downs. You can't give up third down conversions, and you basically have to play a perfect game versus the Saints to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we always say, you got to
trash defense. I don't understand. Here's what I think about trash defense. And you act like they're the Houston Texans or something, or the Atlanta Falcons. That's not what they are. Do they give up some big plays throughout the season? Yes, but that's not their MO, and that's what you can't do today. You can't give up those explosives.
Make the Saints kick field goals or get them off the field on third downs. There you go. I just solved it for you right there.
Yeah, there you go. All right. You'll be fired up there. All right. So let's
I was going to get elbowed for a minute.
There you go. UConn, where's your mask at, bro? It's on the table there, buddy. Thanks a lot for asking. Appreciate you. Awesome to see about Gronk. How can we not be excited? I'm so pumped, smiling ear to ear. And to think he wants to stay another year, let's go. Misador says, they play to watch for the jet sweep to AB. You will see more plays ran off this formation in motion, which will hold the defensive rush. How surprised are you with Brown being more involved into this offense. I mean, not only is he being more involved in the offense, he's been a model citizen on and off the field, and he's definitely showed that he could be a dominating receiver. Could he be the X factor, in your opinion, today versus this very good back end of the Saints?
Yeah, it definitely has to be an X factor. I mean, you're looking at, your two guys on the outside, or possibly one guy on the inside, one guy on the outside, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Then you have Antonio Brown, who could, catch the ball out of the backfield and run it up for, 10 yards, or can take the entire top off the defense and have two guys trailing behind the safety cornerback and score a touchdown. I mean, we've seen all these aspects of what Antonio Brown is, okay? He's slimmer. He's faster this season. He's looking great since he's really got his sea legs underneath him. That's what makes this team very dangerous. So you have a guy like that on your team. You have a reliable guy on the team like Chris Godwin, uncharacteristically dropped the ball last week, but doesn't hardly ever drop the ball. He's Mr. Reliable at the hands. You have a Mike Evans who wins those 50-50 matchups, I think, more than anybody in the NFL. Then you have another speedster in Scotty Miller who could, get a nice ball dropped in the basket from Tom Brady when they really clicked on. I mean, pick your poison right now, because this offense is hot, and that's what's going into the Saints game right now. Absolutely. Who are they going to stop?
All right, let's go back out to Pocket Pool. Why will today's result be any different than the previous two meetings this season? Because first and foremost, I think it's tough to beat a Tom Brady-led team 3 times in a row. Both of these teams know each other. Mm-hmm. On top of it, I believe both teams are going in different directions. The Saints, to me, even though they beat the Chicago Bears, they somewhat struggled. And I'm not saying the Bears' defense is bad, but I think the Bucs' defense can play to that level when they want to. Mm-hmm. Why should it be any different? Because I believe that this coaching staff, I believe this team will be ready to take care of business when it comes to the Saints. And you never really bet against Tom Brady during the playoffs, do you?
No, Tom Brady's, the hottest quarterback in football right now, too. Why would you? I don't know. It's definitely different from those first two meetings. I'm telling you, looking at offensively and defensively.
And I think also you're going to be healthy in this game because Mike Evans seems like he's getting healthier. Chris Godwin is healthy. Antonio Brown. And
Steve
then
McClendon comes back to rotate out.
You have Devin White, who's going to be there. I get it. That 38-3, that still pains a lot of people, especially at Raymond James Stadium. But on top of it, the Bucs are a better road team than they are a home team, 6-2 this year. Yeah. So why do I feel confident? Because this Bucs team right now has what Harry the Greek, my professional handicapper, would say, the mo. They got the momentum. They're steamrolling teams right now because their offense is on another level. I'm not sure if this Saints defense can counteract them. I'm not sure if Trey Hendrickson is fully healthy. If he's not fully healthy, in the way this line has played over the last couple of games, I think you feel pretty confident in the opportunity here to basically do your thing when it comes to this Bucs offense.
And what you're seeing right now with the Bucs offense, why it's been so good, they're starting to implement more of what makes Tom Brady that great quarterback, the GOAT. That play action, setting up to see where everything's going, the motion to see how the defense is. And that's really where Tom Brady strives the best, off the play action. We've seen that a lot more this past month. All right, and now we're starting to see the backs get a little more involved and actually catch the ball for a change with Leonard Fournette. And we have a healthy Shady McCoy this week. So that's another weapon you got to worry about in the backfield and catch the ball in those short intermediate passes.
Any word on Ronald Jones yet? I know it's a game-time decision, but we have any word? And then we'll go to Blake Anthony here in just a little bit.
Got about probably 15 minutes or so before an actors come out.
Switch things up. Have Brate block double teams because he's not as good as Gronk, and Gronk can go out for passes. The problem with that is Brady's not a great blocker. Not as good of an inline blocker as Rob Gronkowski.
And plus, Gronk's got a lot more size on Brate.
Exactly. All right.
I like Brate more in the passing game. I'm not going to lie.
Misador, great brother. We seen to always get positive yardage when you run those plays. Herbie says Baker will win this game. We shall see. Bucs will hit Breeze and will have to hold up. Pocket Pool says to be the best, you have to beat the best. The Bucs are 2-5 against teams with a record 500 or above this season. That very well may be true, but keep in mind the team that you beat has the best record in the NFC in the Green Bay Packers. We're in playoff contention. They've had some good wins. I agree with you, but it is the postseason. Really doesn't matter what you did during the regular season. It doesn't. It's a totally different season now.
Yep. I mean, playoffs are people come out. They want to make their extra money in the playoffs. All right. You see all those incentives for players make the playoffs, get a playoff win, get a touchdown. Here's $500,000. That's what those players are playing for. Not only that, they're playing for a chance to keep advancing in the playoffs. That's why it's so different than the regular season.
Our secondary is questionable. Time for Brady to pass the torch to Mahomes. Harold says D-line pressure will be key to win this game. And as we've always talked about with the Saints offensive line, it's very good. That's the reason why Drew Brees is so successful and has been successful in his career, because you're only giving up 13 sacks during the year. You keep him clean. But if you don't, and he's already an injury risk with the ribs, that could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
for them.
A couple good hits from Devin White or JPP. I mean, could be looking at Jameis Winston, filling the game out the rest of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go out to UCAN. Order me a burger, fries, and wings.
Get down here.
Yeah, I mean, come down here to the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol and order yourself.
I mean, I just had some
sure
delicious barbecue ribs. I saw those mild wings you were working with.
I'm telling you right now, the wings here are great. The service is great. And, of course, the people that work here are great. We're definitely blitzing. D playing aggressive day. We're scoring more than 3 points today. Also, Jason says, keep Brady upright.
Yep.
Khalif says, I got a feeling we're going to whip ass. Misador says, we had no Marpet in the last meeting. That would be one of the reasons why you feel better about that, because we would all agree here, Phil, that Ali Marpet is one of your best offensive linemen. You didn't have him on that Sunday Night Football game. You don't have Alex Kappa on this game, so that will be a matchup. But overall, will we not agree that this offensive line, especially a Donovan Smith, has really stepped up in this last half of the season?
I mean, after seeing Ali Marpet suplex a dude a couple weeks ago, I mean, I'm pulling for the Bucs offensive line against anybody right now.
All right, let's go out to Pocket Pool. Bucs coaching staff has shown an inability to make in-game adjustments all season. That's not true. Has it taken them a little bit to make those in-game adjustments? Absolutely, but I definitely think they have made in-game adjustments during the game. They did it versus the Rams. Of course, they couldn't win that game. They lost by 3. I think they did a little bit too late against the Kansas City Chiefs, shutting them down in the second half. That's going to be the big-time key, and that has been the key going into all these games this year. The Bucs slow starts, especially versus the Saints. The first matchup was different. Brady went down, of course, the 1-yard plunge. But that Sunday night game, you had at least 3 to 4 3-and-outs, which you cannot have versus a good offense versus the Saints.
Yeah. And I think Byron Leftwich is kind of getting his stride right now with making adjustments for the offense. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen that soundbite with Tom Brady saying, this is a stupid effing play or whatnot.
Right.
And then the next play, it's a touchdown. Those are the kind of adjustments that I think they've been making. They've been getting better at. Now, at times do they mess up and they do the wrong things? Yeah, of course. But I mean, every coaching staff does. Even Andy Reid does things like that. Bill Belichick's done things like that. It's all a learning game. It's all in-game things in the moment. And I think they've gotten better. Even Todd Bowles too. Some of the things he does after halftime have been great.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to Travis Faley here. Keep blanking. Tina says, watching you guys from Spain, go Bucs. This is the year. Love it right there. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Jill Wells says, coaching in the trenches are the key. UCAN says, our kicker will be the key to victory. Please, nothing deep until we establish the run. Brian says, Saints fan. Okay, you can be a Saints fan if you want to, and I've seen you, Brian. You can come on the show afterwards and brag if you like, or call in the phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Jason says, have a good game plan for Michael Thomas and Kamara. I think you had let the other guys beat you, but at the end of the day, the first matchup versus Drew Brees, he only threw for 160 yards. I wonder how healthy he is, because he didn't look the best versus that Bears defense. And I kind of believe that they're going to do some delay blitzing, namely with the Devin White from the middle.
Yeah, pulling those stunts out. And I think that's where Devin White has gotten a lot of his, he has 9 sacks on the season or so. He's gotten a lot of them off those little stunts. Those little, delayed blitzes or whatnot with the linebackers,
right.
Letting everybody rush in, wait for that hole to open up. And he's fast enough to hit the hole and get to the quarterback. And that's what the Buccaneers were missing last week, I believe.
I agree with that. Let's see. Tina says, hi, my awesome nephew, go Bucs. Absolutely. There we go. It's all in the family here. We're live at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Saints here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler. We'll have Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, which, of course, shows can be seen and heard here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock with his breakdowns and his thoughts on this game. I think one matchup to really look at, we can kind of talk about this red zone. The Bucs have been very good, although not necessarily the greatest last week versus the Washington football team. But coming into the year 7th, you have red zone defense for the New Orleans Saints 29th. So basically, when you get there, they can cash in. On the same breath there, on the same token, you have the Saints pretty good 5th in the red zone this year. So the Bucs have their hands full if, of course, the Saints get in there, because Sean Payton is a master at basically giving his team the best matchup, especially when it comes to a Kamara, a Thomas, a Sanders, even a Jared Cook. I mean, that matchup to me with the Buccaneer linebackers, they've had difficulty in defending tight ends. But I look at the matchup again, going back to it, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being able to score that much in the red zone and the Saints not being able to stop them, it's pretty key. You get into the red zone, you're basically going to score a touchdown against the Saints defense. They haven't stopped anybody.
It's all about doing your job, all right? Bill Belichick said that. He made a whole big show about do your job. That's what the Buccaneers defense has to do in the red zone. Do your job. Cover your man, cover your zone, know what you're doing. Don't look lost out there, okay? I don't like the linebackers in coverage, so we've been over that many times. But, we have – this is a playoff game, okay? Things are a lot different. I think the players feel a little bit different, so maybe putting those linebackers in those coverage situations at the goal line might be a little bit different. But as far as looking at the Buccaneers offense in the red zone, it's all about matchups, okay, like you just alluded to. Can we get Mike Evans on an island in the back left corner of the end zone? Can I get a Gronkowski in the middle of the end zone towards the back line? It's all about who you match up with and how well it works.
And I wonder what the defensive game plan is going to be. In your opinion, once again, what should this defensive game plan be? Because you look at Drew Brees' numbers against the blitz, 120 quarterback rating, so he's definitely feasted off the blitz. I think you got to delay it. I think you got to mask it. But at the end of the day, you can't afford to play zone. So what's the medium in your opinion? What do you do against him?
You have to play man defense. You have to play man-on-man defense. Jam at the line. Do whatever you got to do. Do not give Drew Brees any time to throw. The longer you keep him in coverage like that, excuse me, the more opportunities you have from those edge rushers or even, maybe some of the linebackers to get in there and really push Drew Brees out the pocket and sack him. Yep. That's my game plan. Be aggressive up front. Be aggressive from the beginning. Be aggressive at the end.
All right, let's go out to Brian here. I feel that black and gold going back to the Super Bowl. Okay, well, it could be you feel something else. Maybe it's gas. Hope Devin White zone man coverage improves for this game and so on. We talked about that. I think that's a big-time key, especially with Jared Cook, the tight end for the Saints, and tight ends have been able to do that versus the Bucs this year. Is that a worry for you?
They're going to give up a big play here and there, okay? They might give up big plays the entire game. It all depends on what happens from the 20-yard line until the end zone. That's where they need to make sure that nothing happens right there.
Brian says, what happened the last game when we beat you guys 38-3? Well, I would say that was a regular season game. Sir, this is a postseason game. Let's see. Bucs are playing better with the run, play action pass, and run game. Bucs got it. Misador says Breeze is statistically better against man coverage. And Harold, I hope they just unleash him and don't have him cover at all. Pocket Pool says Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller will be the keys to success today for Tampa. Peyton knows Brady is not good under pressure and will bring it. Quick slants and hooks will move the ball and keep Brady upright. And if they do blitz on a Tom Brady, and we've seen this before, and this is one of the big-time matchups you're looking at, once again, this offensive line, and especially whoever is going to be the running back on those pass protection situations, if it's a Fournette or if it's a Jones, once again, you've got to do your job. You got to keep Brady clean, because we know that if that interior pressure gets to him, that Brady definitely will throw some interceptions, and he's done it. He struggled versus the Saints in these first two games this year, only 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So that being a concern for you?
I'll keep going back to what, I kind of said. This is week 1, week 9. The Buccaneers have been on this awesome streak for the past 5 weeks. They're starting to implement more things on the offense that suits Tom Brady well, suits the playmakers well. The short game, they're always having somebody out there in the flat so they can throw to, dump it off in case they need to. I don't see that being any different today against the Saints. This is not going to be the same offense that they played 38-3 or whatever week 1 it is, okay? This is a totally different offense. We can throw out whatever we saw, in the regular season. This is the playoff team right now.
Absolutely. 19-10 right now as the Browns just scored, so they get on the board here. 19-10 Kansas City over the Cleveland Browns. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So let me get a prediction from you, get you out of here, get Blake Anthony on here. What's your prediction for this game, Bucs versus the Saints today?
Yeah, I got the Buccaneers by a touchdown. I feel pretty confident about that. 6 point. I know they're 3-point underdog right now. I'm gonna go and say Tampa Bay 27. We'll go. What are they called? The New Orleans Saints 21. Jeez, I couldn't remember.
That's all right. That's all right. Good stuff there. Good stuff. All right, my friend. Thanks a lot for joining me. You got to do your thing. Go ahead and bring Blake Anthony on here. We'll get him on here. In fact, what we'll go ahead and do is we will go out to Blake Anthony's breakdown, the winning angle here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Of course, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs, it's Advanced Auto Parts. All right, let's go out to it here. Blake Anthony, the winning angle versus the New Orleans Saints. And we'll have Blake Anthony on as we get him on right now. We'll go out to it. Enjoy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of The Winning Angle with your host from Sports Talk 49, Blake Anthony. Today, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers' upcoming matchup, some key things to look at, and what they should do to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. As we're talking about playing against the Saints for the third time, we got to pay attention to detail. As you can see in the first clip, you see Alvin Kamara spacing between Drew Brees and himself. Kamara lines up with himself lined up behind the offensive tackle, where he knows he's got a passing play called and he knows he's going out to be an able pass catcher. On the next clip, you see Kamara is clearly moved in and his split is shorter and a little stagnant behind Drew Brees, knowing he's going to get a handoff on this play. Hopefully Devin White and Levante David can notice these small details because it could help in getting advantage into the game. The Chicago Bears defense could play offense, they would have beaten the New Orleans Saints, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. The Bears have much success in this game, covering the wide receivers and running backs against the Saints early in this game. So we're going to look at here the keys that they look at. When Saints go on this bunch formation or any of these formations, they did share of coverage here. So Drew Brees didn't have a quick outlet, knowing he wants to get the ball out of his hand. Drew Brees looks at his first receiver, corners in man, passes on his coverage to the next defender. Watch how they shift right here. Pauses, the guy drops back into coverage under the route behind him that he does not even see. Drew Brees' reads are gone. The pass rush is getting there, and Drew Brees is unable to find anybody and has to throw this ball away. Here's another example I'm going to use from the Bears. They had a lot of success on this DTDN stunt. Now, they run it different ways, but they were very successful taking advantage of the Saints left guard and left tackle. If you see here, as I'll pause it here in a second, you see the defensive tackle take the outside route and the defensive end take the inside route. Cause confusion and havoc. Both foot players end up free. Linemen are looking at each other like, which way did he go? Able to force Drew Brees to force the error throw, which led to an interception. The Chicago Bears come out and use another stunt. This time, the look is the wide nine. So what they're doing here is going to take up two guys with the D tackle and come free with the end. The key to this is getting the center to pay attention away from the stunning side, which they did before, as I showed you with the red arrow. The Bears were very good at that, occupying two guys with one, and was able to get one guy home to force Brees to an incomplete pass. I call this here the Hill Project, Taysom Hill Project. Taysom Hill is the gadget guy for the Saints and a utility, which has worked out for the Saints, coming in as a starter and using him in multiple ways. So what the Buccaneers need to do is treat him as such. Yes, he's a quarterback. Yes, he can throw. But when they come out in these power formations and you have one wide receiver on the field, as you see up top, treat it as such. Cover them in man and send everybody back in the backfield. Force Taysom Hill to make a great throw and just live with the results. Chicago blitzes here, as they should, get a strip sack or interception here and turn the ball over, and Bears are going the other way. Let's take another look at it from another angle. In 1 second, here we go. See the Bears line up, everybody knowing they run power. Normally out of these formations, you see everybody here on the line of scrimmage or around the line of scrimmage. You send a tight end over. You have one receiver to the right. Here's the blitz here. The key is to get the two guys to double down on your D tackle. You got a rusher free and another guy coming in the other A gap. Force a fumble or interception and get a turnover. I don't think I have to say that you have to obviously pass block. So let's just say they do that. Here's a way that I saw you can expose the Saints defense. Their DBs are never stressed because they don't have to cover so long. But when you run plays that puts pressure on their DBs to make decisions, you can beat them. As you see Lazard coming straight down the hashes and able to give a little stutter outside and come back inside and able to beat the safety for a deep ball and a great game. As you can see, all the other routes occupy other safeties. You got three guys converging on one. You got one-on-one on the outside. Then you found the matchup you needed was Lazard getting separation from the safety, and they get a great big game. I could see that being Antonio Brown.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in East Day Soul. I'm your host, Peter Blake. I'm on with Blake Anthony at Sports Talk 49. Great breakdown there, and I got to ask you, look at Drew Brees coming into this season. Last time he played the Bucs, of course, 38-3. Saints at Raymond James Stadium, ugly effort, over 200 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. What do you do to this guy to get him off his mark? Because it seems like the Bears in that breakdown did a very good job of getting pressure. It all comes back to pressure, but in that back end, what are you doing to stop Michael Thomas, Deontay Harrison, and Emmanuel Sanders?
You can't make it harder than it has to be. Take away what they want to do. Take away inside routes, force elongated passes, outside the numbers, deep throws, stuff that Brees does not want to do. And then cause inside stunts to get pressure, much like the Bears did. They found a lot of great ways to get inside penetration on Drew Brees, and I'm pretty sure Todd Bowles is going to try to replicate some of that and mix up some guys down there in the D-line and get some stunts going.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Again, the pressure on a Drew Brees, because you look at it coming into the year, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He barely turns over the ball. We saw this Bucs defense get after a Heineke, cause a turnover, which is always good because it gives your offense that short field. But then looking over the Bucs offensive line, their situation, Donovan Smith, you're going to have Ali Marpet, which you didn't have in the second matchup, which I think you can consider the best offensive lineman on this line. But you got to change there. And Aaron Stinney at right guard, what is the impact of Alex Kappa being on the IR now? Stinney, his first NFL start.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is communication.
Okay.
Clearly, the communication has been outstanding between Kappa and Worse, which hasn't been talked about by much others than people that watch Tampa Bay every week, of course, which is a sad thing. But I digress. Communication, and hopefully Stinney's been working out all week. I'm sure him and Worse have communicated, and that's really the key. It's just been communicating that game. So when the Saints run their stunts and run their things that they're going to do, they're not confused and don't give up ill-advised sacks for turnovers.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. This is an interesting call. I'm not sure if she wants to call and talk Bucs football, but we'll go ahead and go for it. Amanda from Tampa, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. What do you have to say? And she's not there. So I don't think she was necessarily calling.
She said, oh, no, I'm not here for that.
Yes, absolutely. We can get a birthday guest on for a birthday shout-out. Sure, we can. Sure, we can. We'll do that in a little bit here. But let's also talk about this Bucs injury situation. Ronald Jones is a game-time decision. In your opinion, do you think he plays? And can Leonard Fournette duplicate that effort that he had versus the Washington football team? 19 carries for 93 yards and 1 touchdown. Can he do the same thing versus the Saints? And is this one of the main keys for this offense to basically stand out and really do what they did against Washington and the other teams to open up that pass play action?
Absolutely, yeah. First off, you got to dominate the line of scrimmage, something the Buccaneers have never done. They're 0-2 against that, against the Saints. The Saints own the line of scrimmage against them on both sides of the ball. So that's definitely something that they're going to have to change and own the line of scrimmage coming in this game, which it'll help Leonard Fournette. They're going to need Leonard Fournette's downhill running. They're going to need his pass receiving. You need to take advantage of the opportunities that you get. You're going to have Charlie Garner-Johnson down there causing havoc, covering Rob Gronkowski and running backs and things like that. But if you can get those linebackers matched up on somebody, a pass catcher that's a better athlete than them, need to take advantage. But the key is to getting time. And what I broke in the breakdown there is just something that I didn't think about. They play a lot of underneath coverage because they rely so much on the pressure getting there. So they think quick passes are coming out. So take your shots, force those DBs to cover these guys. Maybe they can get pass interference, defensive holdings, and find ways to keep this offense moving.
Yeah.
Because the Buccaneers don't really take a lot of shots on the Saints because they can't own the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, let's go out to the web heads here, read some of these comments from these guys. You guys can coach in the league.
Appreciate that.
All this talk about skill positions, I believe we win with the trenches. I think
obvious.
that's self-explanatory. I think that's where you've lost both of those matchups,
Mm-hmm.
especially a Donovan Smith. And you got to say it, and we'll have a perspective later on with your breaking down Smith and how he performed versus the Washington football team. But are you pleasantly surprised of how he's played this last half of the season?
I'll say right now on air, I like playoff Donovan Smith.
I like it too.
I like playoff Donovan Smith, and that can continue as he was aggressive. He punching hands, getting dirty. That's what I want to see. I don't care if you get a penalty for playing hard. So be it.
Right.
But you just letting somebody dominate you, I have an issue with.
All right, let's go out to Pocket Pool 76. Past 5 weeks, Tampa Bay didn't beat a team with a record above 7-9. Last 5 games are not a good measurement of where the team is. Tampa Bay was almost a victim of their schedule. Agree with that? Look, you play your schedule at the end of the day. I get that, but it's totally different now when you're in postseason football, right?
I mean, of course it is. Everybody's 0-0. None of that matters. But the Jets beat the Rams. Atlanta almost beat the Chiefs. I mean,
the Jets beat the Browns, did they not? I mean, you play your schedule.
What does that mean?
I mean, I think this would be the same person that would say, well, they beat a good team here and there, so not a big deal. They lost to, they played down to their competition. That's what I'm saying. You have to play every game in the NFL on your schedule.
Did they win the game?
Did they win the game? They won the game, right? They're 11-5. You said 10-6, Pocket Pool. They're not 10-6. You said they wouldn't make the playoffs. They made the playoffs. They're in the divisional round, and that's what we're getting you ready for here on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. Join the 68,000 following we have here on Facebook, of course, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and that Bucs Report Twitch channel. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49.
Raiders, for God's sake.
I'm telling you, right?
The Raiders.
We win on special teams. That's what UCAN says. You win on special teams.
Field goals, absolutely.
But you can't settle for field goals. And I think that's one of the matchups that people are not looking at. This Saints defense, as good as they are on both facets, stopping the run and also with their back end, stop defending the pass, they're not good in the red zone. They're 29th. Mm-hmm. So the Bucs may be able to have their way because they're 7th in red zone percentage, and that's what it comes down to, not settling for field goals. I know the Bucs settled for a field goal versus the Washington football team, but you got to come out and score touchdowns. And then when the Saints have those long situations or even third downs, even those short situations, you got to get them off the field. You have to.
Yep, that's by taking away their reads, take away the underneath, the Thomas, take away Kamara, and look and force Drew Brees to go to people he's not familiar with throwing with. Let them make the big catches. Don't leave the guys open that he wants to throw to. All
right, let's go back out to the phone or go out to the webhead. Excuse me. Let's rough them up today. Ami Sador says Wirfs will be the biggest player of today's game. He will be pulling his job and some of Stenny's job today. Agree with that? I mean, Tristan Wirfs has played amazing this year.
You can't block two people. I get his point. But you can't block two people. Tristan Wirfs has his hands full with Cameron Jordan.
Right.
He can't cover Cameron Jordan and block Aaron Stenny's guy, too. It's impossible. But he will handle his business with Cameron Jordan, which he's had before. Only person really giving problems was Mack, and that's a future Hall of Famer. So I don't follow you for that. So
going back to the pressure situation, you have Trey Hendrickson coming into this game with a neck injury. Most likely is not going to be 100%. That absolutely favors a Donovan Smith, who has absolutely struggled versus him in these two matchups, right?
Yep. I said with him with that neck, all it takes is one hit for him to be uncomfortable, and he could come back out. So, I mean, regardless of who's lining up, Donovan really needs to show the Tampa Bay area he really wants to be here and play just like he did last week. So I'm not going to really hone on his negativities from all season. So at this point, it don't matter. He's everybody's 0-0 in the playoffs, with the Bucs are 1-0 right now. But he needs to replicate what he just did last week.
In your opinion, why has Tom Brady struggled in these two matchups? Look at the first matchup, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, of course, the pick 6 to Jenkins, and then a god-awful effort versus the Saints at Raymond James Stadium, 38-3, but only 209 passing yards and 3 interceptions. Why has he struggled so much? What does Dennis Allen defensively do to Tom Brady and this offense that really gives them difficulty besides the obvious thing, putting pressure on him?
Continuity.
Okay.
At that point, the first game they should have been. They could have possibly won if they had Mike Edwards didn't fumble that ball on the special teams, and Tom doesn't throw a pick six. But we're not gonna play the what if game. They were a lot closer to that game. And then it was week 9, I believe, when Antonio Brown came back, and he had just gotten to the team. He doesn't know the plays. They throw him right out there. They're still learning the plays at that point. And I think even Bruce Arians said that you can picture the play in your head now of what it should look like against the defenses that you showcased all practice, and those are all clicking. Now everybody's on the same page. The verbiage is fine. Everybody's making the same reads, because I believe in the week 1 matchup, you had the same miscommunication with Mike Evans going upfield versus sitting down, and Tom threw a pick. All those are gone. They've run those plays still, but the communication's a lot better now. It's what we said before. It's all about execution.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is all about the execution, and the execution has definitely gotten better, especially offensively. Let's go out to Brian Pearson. Tomorrow, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be cleaning out their locker room, and I'll be going home for the season. We'll enjoy that, my friend. They just announced Rojo is back this week. So the victim of volume, do you think he gets the lead carries? Fournette's going to start, but how much of an impact can Jones make in this game with that quad injury, in your opinion?
I remember the quad and the hand.
Right.
The hand is what scares me. The quad doesn't.
Okay.
Because the hand can lead to fumbles. The quad, I mean, he'll let you know if he can still run on it, because he still looked explosive, running and everything, but it's really going to be up to him and what his pain tolerance is.
Okay. All right, let's go back out to Brian because he's a bum, and that's why I struggle. Okay. I work for the Bucs. I'm already cleaning out their locker room. Okay, great. We're getting the – I mean, you're working – we're getting the brooms out today, sweeping Tampa Bay away until next year. And Brady struggled because his line did. Once they fell behind, Leftwich abandoned the run, which allowed the D to pin their ears back. I mean, what was it, 5 carries?
Lowest ever.
So you definitely have to establish this running game, and we always talk about it here, Blake. Can they do it, and is that going to be the game plan? Because you listen to Brady talk this week about how important it is to establish the run. You provide that balance, and once again, you make the defense accountable. But it's the pass play action. It's the plays you want to go down the field. It's those chunk plays that really kill the opposing defense, right?
Yeah, it's a cumulative thing. Like you said, A, you got to go through A to get the B to get the C. You got to get the run to force people to come up on the run. And then when that happens, you're able to throw passes over the middle of the field and get chunk yardage. You're absolutely right. You hit it right on the head. I just made it simpler.
Yeah, you did.
I just made it simpler.
You did.
You're absolutely right.
You really did. And a lot of people are looking at it very much worried about Tyler Heineke throwing for over 300 yards versus this back end. Carlton Davis has done somewhat of a good job versus a Michael Thomas. Would you expect him to do a good job? Is it one-on-one? Are they going to have him shadow? And then how about the other guys? Jamel Dean in the first matchup, he looked like he got beat. Sean Murphy-Bunting, inconsistent, but had an interception last week. Can the other guys besides Davis step up and really make life miserable for Drew Brees and tough to find these outside targets?
Yeah, the key to this, and it's so easy to say that. It sounds so easy, but this is what you got to do. You have to be aggressive on those routes.
Yeah.
You have to jump those first routes. And if they can't, and if your rush can't get there, I mean, that's where all the chunk yardage comes out of it. You got to jump those first routes, take his read away, and let that pass rush get to him. And that's how it's going to work. But if you let Drew Brees sit back there for 4, 5, 6 seconds, you're going to get beat because you can't cover somebody for that long. Not a pro.
No, you really can't. You really can't. What was your thought process on how they played against the Chicago Bears? 3 quarters, they really struggled. And I get it. The Bears are a good defense, but if they had an offense in that game,
a whole nother story.
Right. I mean, Mims drops a touchdown on the trick play. Could you see some trick plays today by this Buccaneer offense, or is it going to be what there always are? What type of adjustments could you see this offense making versus this Saints good defense?
Getting vertical. Actually getting vertical for one, something they were unable to do for 2 matchups. They couldn't really get deep on these guys because of the rush. Taking a lot of mid passes and forcing balls in the windows.
Yeah,
I really expected them to try to eat them up vertically because you saw last week and you saw in the Green Bay matchup when you go vertical on these guys, they give up some yardage, and you got the receivers that can beat one-on-ones.
Absolutely. And the Bucs defensive line coming into it, a Bucs defense overall, 48 sacks and 116 quarterback hits. So they got to really get after it. We keep on talking about it over and over again. Any quarterback, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, or Drew Brees, you have to get after it. Open phone line if you have something to say about this Bucs Saints matchup. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, which can be seen and heard here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock. We're going to get Travis Feedley on here in just a little bit. Some fans came out. They want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so we'll get and talk to them. But again, great food, great service. It's the Deck Bar and Grill and Isla del Sol. So Ronald Jones looks like he's going to go. Chris Godwin last week. 5 drops, uncharacteristically had a lot of drops in the game, still made some big plays. Is he the X factor with knowing what we know about Lattimore in his matchup versus Evans not working out? If they shut down Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, especially Brown, are they the X factors, or is it Godwin in your opinion?
I know Godwin is going to get a lot of attention. As I said before, I think Brown is your guy again. He's a guy who didn't really have a chance to do too much against them in that Week 9 matchup. I think he comes out and played. He's on a hot streak, and as I always say, keep giving the hot man the rock. He's hot right now. I know Godwin had some drops, and just like Mike Evans said, he did make a lot of big plays too. He did have those drops in inopportune times, I think was more of it. But I expect him to bounce back and be ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back out to the webheads here, read some more comments from these guys. Absolutely abandoned the run, so good stuff there by Misador. What's up, Blake Anthony, says Nick. Deshaun, Fournette, Jones, whomever just run the ball, we are a matchup nightmare for the Saints. I will fire
Cannon worthy.
Harold says, I'm putting my faith in Jamel Dean. And to me, Jamel Dean has the potential to be one of the best corners in this league with his measurables, what he does. What do we got? What's going on?
Is this the inactive?
Inactive list there? Give me the inactive.
All right, inactive is Ryan Griffin, Justin Watson, Keyshawn Vaughn, Javon Hogan, Earl Walford, Anthony Auclair, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Taysom Hill, Latavius Murphy. That's huge. Patrick Robinson. That's
as a
huge.
Corner there.
That's huge. Another DB, King Crawley, Jawan Johnson, wide receiver, Malcolm Roach, and Derek Kelly.
All right, so there you go. There's your inactives right there. Thanks a lot to our server, Mr. Kyle.
That's clutch performance.
It is a clutch performance there. So getting back to it, I kind of lost my train of thought, but the inactives, Taysom Hill, and of course Latavius Murray. How big is that? Especially Taysom Hill. So now the Saints are most likely going to see if Drew Brees takes a hit
or JW3.
Jameis Winston.
I don't expect them to be running power plays. It's possible. I mean, they could try anything, but that takes away a lot of your power runs. So the question is, you're going to have a guy you didn't game plan for stepping in to play to replace him. So we'll see how the Bucs adjust to that. I'm interested to see who's going to fill that role.
Jamel Dean. A lot of people saying they don't have the confidence. Well, we saw Dean this year and the potential. He's got the body. He's got the instincts to a certain degree. Kind of looks into the backfield too much. You have faith in him to learn from his mistakes in that first matchup.
I hope so. Like you said, key word is looking into that backfield. You look back there, you're going to get beat, man.
Yeah.
You got to cover your receiver. If he catches it, just come up and make the tackle, and you live to fight another down. You got to trust your reads. You got to trust your assignments. You got to trust that your guys or your fellow defenders are going to be where they're supposed to be.
All right, there you go. So let's go back out to Deshaun. Do you see us getting pressure from the interior linemen? Can you see that, Adama Sue?
Got to get stunts because obviously one-on-ones aren't working. We saw in Washington, they're just not beating them with swim moves and rips. They got to figure out a way to get these guys moving and possibly win some matchups somewhere.
Okay, what we're going to do here, read the rest of these comments. We'll go out to your perspective on Donovan Smith. We'll get you out of here, get Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, my Around the NFL correspondent. Lots of coaching hirings and firings. Definitely want to get his thoughts, and, of course, his Chicago Bears, and most likely try to work in Harry the Greek, my professional handicapper. How does he see this game playing out, and what does he think of the playoffs so far and how they have worked out? Tell you what, let's go out to Joshua Cole Allen. Josh Allen. There we go. Joshua Cole Allen, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. What do you have to say?
What's going on, boys? How we doing? Happy game day.
Absolutely. Happy game day, buddy. What do you have to say here with this Bucs versus Saints matchup? I hear it. I hear him in the background. Is that little Cannon? What's up, little Cannon? How you doing? All right, good stuff. So, Josh, what are we thinking about this matchup? What are your keys to the victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today versus the Saints?
Keys to the victory: you take the game plans that you had in Week 1 and the second matchup up with Michael Thomas, and you execute those because those are you held him in check. Really limit Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, and Taysom Hill, trying to make sure their running game not one-dimensional, but two of their big bruiser backs are now out. So you're having to focus more on that speedy output there. So you take that one too. Another one, you got to make sure you're pressuring Drew Brees. He's old. He's been dealing with injuries all season to his ribs, to his lung. Get to him, pressure him hard. The second string quarterback is out. Force Jameis Winston.
Here we go. I can hear you now. There we are.
Okay, could you not hear me?
I couldn't hear you that well, buddy. Go ahead. Keep on going.
Okay, yeah. So Jameis Winston, you pressure Drew Brees, you can knock him out. You got Jameis Winston, and then the game becomes a layup.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. So what are you seeing here? What's your prediction for this Bucs Saints matchup part 3?
The biggest thing, too, is, just make sure you give Aaron Stinney help as much as you can. He's making his first career playoff start against a really good interior Bucs team. But I got the Bucs winning 31-24.
31.
Fire the cannon.
Okay, all right, Josh, we'll do that. Go ahead. Thanks very much for the call. Appreciate you. I don't know. I guess he was doing parent duty. I get it. He's got some great kids there. So let's go back out to the webheads here. Saints have big problems with the Bears stunning. Misador says need a minimum of 17 rushing attempts. Agree with that number? 17 rushing attempts? I say 20.
Yeah, if it's working, keep feeding.
Right. Misador says Deshaun Tisdale, not really unless they run the stunts in varied fronts.
Yes.
Brady won't have time today throwing downfield. Bucs will have their success with 5 and 10 yard quick passes. All about moving the change and field position today. Agree with that?
5 to 10 yard quick passes. The Saints are anticipating that because they rush 4 and leave 7 in cover.
Correct.
I don't mean go vertical all the time, obviously, when you say do that, but definitely take your shots because they're anticipating short routes because they rely on their rush to get to the quarterback. So that's why they jump all them underneath routes. That's why they play man underneath a lot because they're expecting those.
And according to Pro Football Focus, this Saints back end is ranked 21st. The reason why is because they are so aggressive, you definitely could pick up some pass interference penalties. So look for that if they go down the field today. Mike Evans calls some of those. Scotty Miller could call some of those. Maybe even an Antonio Brown, which you talked about in your breakdown. He could be the X factor, even a Chris Godwin. So, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go back out to the webheads here. Mahomes just went in concussion protocol.
If they score on this, it makes a huge difference.
Deshaun, that means McCoy is in. Misador Dean is a man cover. Let him play his game. Brian says, please let the Bucs DBs get some stops. Misador again. Deshaun Tisdale, Shady will be explosive change of pace today. Dustin says, edge rushers better earn their money today. Tom says, is Hill officially ruled out? Not having to worry about him. He has been officially ruled out. Of course, that report earlier coming from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. House money, Bucs need to push the chips to the center of the table, play with reckless abandon. Not that I'm a fan of Bounty Gate style football, but winning dirty is still winning. Misador says, Tom Ferguson, yes, he, Murray, and Robinson are out. And Harold says, if the D-line can't get pressure, they need to get their hands to bat the ball down. Let's go out to your perspective of Donovan Smith. I am so looking forward to seeing this because you've been very critical, but I watched it. I love it.
Fair.
Absolutely. You were fair here. So we're going to go out to Blake Anthony's, of course, Sports Talk 49, which can be seen and heard here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock. His perspective on Donovan Smith here on the Evolution Sports Talk Television, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs, it's Advanced Auto Parts. So let's go out to his perspective. Enjoy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of My Perspective with your host from Sports Talk 49, Blake Anthony. Check out today's My Perspective and let me know what you think. Make sure to follow me on social media. Enjoy. It wouldn't be right if I didn't give love to the big man, 76, the veteran on the offensive line. Donovan Smith had a great day, outsmarted Chase Young on several levels, and played like a veteran versus a first-year player in Chase Young. Check this out. First play of the game. Set the tone, big man. Donovan Smith, number 76, is going up against Chase Young. Go man on man, hand on hand here. Donovan Smith gets his hands off of him, puts him in the dirt. Have a good night. Take this play off while we move the ball down the field. Donovan Smith wins this matchup early in the game and set dominance early that he wasn't going to be pushed around. This play here, Chase Young tries to hit Donovan Smith with a spin move, but Smith isn't having it. Waits for him to make his first move. Young misses. Smith has a great base and denies Young any type of momentum to get the Club Brady because Donovan Smith definitely wasn't allowing access. I can't go without mentioning Donovan Smith did a great job run blocking as well. Look how he sets up the edge right here, sealing out the outside defender, creating all types of running lanes here for Antonio Brown with Cam Brate lead blocking. Donovan Smith is downfield trying to keep him as long as he can, and Antonio Brown is allowed to gain a lot of yards on this play. Just another beauty here by Donovan Smith. Being aggressive, that's what I like to see. Chase Young gets his hands extended. Donovan Smith punches his arms down, gets Chase Young again off balance and tells him to have a seat. You're in timeout. Club Brady is in session, and you're not allowed in. This one had me giggling a little bit. Yes, I said giggle. Chase Young's had enough of Donovan Smith, so he tries to sick brother Montez Sweat on him. Donovan Smith beats him up too, pushes him down in the schoolyard. Look at him being nasty. Got his head down, letting him know he's here to stay, and letting Montez Sweat know that he's got nothing coming in this play. Was facing the ground, looking at his shoes, making sure his laces are tied.
Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Rocket Sports' own here, Rocket Sports and Entertainment, my Around the NFL correspondent, Mr. Travis Faley. How you doing today, buddy?
I just thought I'd bring some sexy to the show today,
oh,
ladies and gentlemen.
Gosh.
How you guys doing out there in Buckland? I really got to give it up to Mr. Blake Anthony for that breakdown from the offensive line. Club Brady, that's pretty fantastic. The only kind of hot knowledge you're going to get on Bucs Report with Peter Blake.
Absolutely. Here we're live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. Let's talk about this Bucs matchup versus the Saints before we go around the NFL. How do you see it playing out? The Bucs lose the first matchup, and then, of course, they lose 38-3, which is in my mind at Raymond James Stadium. But this Bucs team seems like they're definitely on a better trajectory than the Saints are right now.
If you're going to say trajectory, you might want to say it correctly.
Trajectory. I don't know why I
you
can't
got that
say
from
it.
Leo.
Yes,
it's a Leo word.
Yes,
right
it's
there.
a Leo word. It is.
It's a
Absolutely.
22 syllable word.
I'm telling you, it is.
But no, I think this Bucs team's a little bit different than that last matchup with the Saints, and they're going to be missing two incredible pieces to their offense. And don't get me wrong, you don't hear Latavius Murray very often, when it rolls off the lips of Saints valuable players. Well, you do hear Taysom Hill. And what he did in those two games against the Bucs weren't earth-shattering, to say the least. But he was in for 36 snaps in those two games, 17 in the first, 19 in the second. And you take him right out of the mix. He is a variable that's hard to defend against because not only does he play quarterback, he will play running back, and he will play receiver, and the numbers panning out. He is a weapon that New Orleans likes to use, and he is not going to be playing today.
Yeah, he's not going to play in this game. Taysom Hill is not going to be in this game. So if Drew Brees goes down with all the rib injury there, you could see some Jameis Winston, and that's what it comes down to with this Buccaneer matchup, in your opinion. You have Brees that passed for over 200 yards, 4 touchdowns in the last matchup, and when you give him the time, he'll pick you apart. So that's got to be your game plan. You got to either blitz him or get after him. And I feel like as good as he is against the blitz, you've got to kind of mix it around. You're a Bears fan. What do you see? What did you see from the Bears and what they did, and what do you think the Bucs can take out of that?
I really saw a weak-armed Drew Brees in the grand scheme of things, and I also thought that Alvin Kamara wasn't at top form. Obviously, coming off the Rona, he plays. Didn't seem to be 100% against the Bears. They didn't utilize him very often, and the the Bears were in that game. Don't get me wrong. It was never really super close, but they did have opportunities against that team. And especially with that depleted Bears secondary, they should have never been in that game. So that's why I was surprised that the Saints didn't go down the field, which led me to believe it had to do with something with Drew Brees' ribs and with his arm strength. So do I like the Bucs' chances today? Absolutely. Earlier in the week when I was looking at this game, I definitely liked the Saints because I thought the Saints defense was a little bit better than the Buccaneers. And I think it all comes down to secondary, guys. And, like everybody's been saying on this dais up here, the Buccaneers offense is hitting at full strength. And the fact that RJ3, Ronald Jones, is playing today. You got McCoy playing today. You got Leonard Fournette playing today. So that's going to open up play action, deep passes. Antonio Brown is going to play a part in this game. And from an offensive standpoint, you got to look like what the Bucs are going to be able to do today.
And we always call him the victim of volume in a Ronald Jones, as he's going to play today, which is a good thing. Of course, they're going to miss Alex Kappa, so Aaron Steiny will have the right guard spot. We'll see how that works out. Let's go around the NFL a little bit here.
Well, let's talk about this game. This game is huge right now.
22-17, Kansas City over Cleveland. And of
Patrick
course,
Mahomes.
Yeah, concussion protocol. So now you feel pretty good if you're a Browns fan and you're a Baker Mayfield fan, which Matt Colson just hit me up thinking the Browns can win this game. The Browns can win this game, right?
Absolutely, but they play in the first half. They played into the hands of Kansas City. You have to pretty much play mistake-free football, and Cleveland didn't do it in the first half. Bad penalties, ball going out of the back of the side of the end zone, which the referees missed a helmet-to-helmet. That was a huge play early in this game, but Cleveland has stayed with it. They got the running game established in the second half, and they're making moves. And, hey, they're only one score behind. Anything can happen right now. It's the fourth quarter up in Arrowhead. And, yes, I looked earlier, and it looked like there was a ton of fans in the stands for not only for Kansas City, but also for the Browns.
This just in, Patrick Mahomes will not return to this game, so a big-time loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you abreast of that situation. We'll update the score.
And anybody that was watching this game saw him get rolled over. He was almost bulldogged all the way down to the ground, but his helmet rolled on the other player's helmet, and he got up, and he was all glossy and glassy-eyed. It was a little crazy.
Yep.
And my Kansas City fans back over in the neighborhood are not happy and worried right now.
Let's go to the playoffs. What do you think about the games yesterday? Of course, you have the Green Bay Packers right now. They look like also one of the hottest teams in the NFC. Number one seed, Aaron Rodgers, finally getting a championship game at Lambeau Field. Can somebody beat the Packers out of this matchup? Let's say the Saints win, the Bucs win. Are the Packers right now unstoppable, or can they be beat up? Of course, the Bucs beat them 38-10 in the first matchup at Raymond James Stadium, but a little bit of a different story there, a home field advantage, if you will, especially with the weather, right?
With the weather and with the fans in the stands, Pete. Yesterday they had 8,456 fans in the stands, and it sounded like 40,000 at times.
It really did.
They also have the three-headed running back monster going right now in Jones, Williams, and Dillon, along with that tight end who's turned into a monster this year. They call him Big Bobby Tonyan, a.k.a. Robert Tonyan, who's had over 500 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns. This guy's a monster over the middle. You're going to have to look out for him. The Bucs played well against the Packers last time the Packers were in Raymond James Stadium, but they did get down early. It was 10-0. It looked like the Green Bay was going to roll and dominate. Then a big interception changed the whole flow of that game. And Rodgers gets, when Rodgers gets hit and he doesn't like the way things are going, he gets grumpy smurf face.
He does. He absolutely
He almost
does.
looks like you a little bit with that beard and mustache.
Maybe. You know what I think about that? That's what I think about that right there. How about that? We're on with Travis Bailey of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, our Around the NFL correspondent. I'm your host, Peter Blake of the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. Let's go around the league.
First, we have to talk about the food here at the Deck Bar and Grill.
Yes.
I know we're going to be sporting some wings in a little bit. If you guys are just driving around in your car and you got the phone and you're streaming Bucs Report, get out to the deck out here. Cedric and his team will take care of you. Great food, great people. Come and say hi to us. Sporting the lovely red Bucs Report shirt today.
I got the black. Everybody had the black on today. I guess he missed the memo, but that's okay. We got to change it up here. We got Travis
I don't get
Bailey.
the TPS report anymore.
The TPS, no TPS reports. None of it here.
We have this big fun time breaking up copiers. They don't get the TPS report. I tell you what.
There you go. All right.
I should have Hey,
But you
I
got
gotta
the
be-
red. You had
yeah,
to be different.
I'm bringing
Just like
the
you
red.
always are.
The sexy red, baby. The sexy
Jeez,
red.
you and your sexy red. All right, let's talk around the NFL just a little bit here with the coaching changes. The big one for me, Urban Meyer going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. How long can this last? Because we know that Meyer is not going to necessarily stay there. Maybe 2 or 3 years. If it doesn't work out, then he's out of there with his previous history with the Florida Gators, Utah, and of course Ohio State. Could be a health situation, but honestly, can this work out for the Jacksonville Jaguars with them picking most likely Trevor Lawrence?
I think it can, Pete. They have a ton of money in cap space. You got a good coach coming in. No, not really a monster in the NFL game to say the least at all, but he has a reputation. He's going to bring in free agents with the money that they have. If they draft well, they can turn this franchise around. You got to look at Indianapolis. They're going to be looking for a quarterback in the offseason if Rivers decides to get out of the game and go be a high school football coach like he's talked about and take care of his 19,000 kids that he has. Then you got Tennessee who's going to compete. They still have some things that they got to figure out. They're going to lose some assistant coaches. So Jacksonville could turn this thing around and compete at some point for the AFC South. And Urban Meyer already has a built-in get out of Jacksonville card. If he doesn't start feeling good, he goes to the owner and says, all right, I'll take my $10 million for this year. I'll take my $10 million for next year or whatever. Put me up in the front office. I don't feel good. Let's bring in another coach. Something to that effect.
Absolutely. And
he hit the jackpot, Pete.
They really did.
Jacksonville hit the jackpot.
Well, it's a big-time hire because all the talk was, Travis, that Jacksonville's going to move to London, and now you got a coach who's coached in the state of Florida with the Gators. We know there are Gator fans there, so now you get that Gator fan base, and then you have a highly regarded player in a Trevor Lawrence who, a lot of people project him to be as good or better than Andrew Luck, as good or better than John Elway. So we'll see if it works out. How many years, realistically, do you think it takes Jacksonville to be somewhat of a contender, even for the playoffs?
I'd say 2 or 3 years, Pete,
okay.
Because what you've seen right now, they'll turn it around. They'll get a couple more wins next year just by having the athleticism of Lawrence. He's just got to make sure he doesn't stick his head in there too often and take any big hits. Just be semi-competitive in that division. Start establishing a running game. They do have some young, good players on that team now, and you can build. Having that first pick in the first round, second round, and so forth, just in this draft alone is considerable. You can get guys to help the team right away unless you're Ryan Pace.
What about the situation in Houston? It seems dire at this point.
I got nothing on the Ryan Pace crack.
Well, okay, we'll go. Let's go. Let's actually talk about that because I know you're a Chicago Bears fan. You watch this team on a daily basis. Were you surprised that they kept Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace around? You start out 5-1. You barely get into the playoffs. You back into the playoffs, have a good game versus the Saints. But once again, it comes down to the offensive deficiencies, especially with Mitchell Trubisky there not producing. You're not sure if he's your quarterback or not. You're basically wasting a good defense. Are you surprised that the Bears organization didn't go in a different direction? Or in your opinion, is it correct to stay with the pace and stay with the Nagy and see how it works out in a non-COVID year?
I have a one-word answer for you.
Yes.
Jackasses. We're not going to talk about this. We can talk about good teams and good players and good coaches and good organizations, but they did exactly what everybody thought the Bears were going to do. They're just a good, hey, let's be a middle-of-the-road team. The fans are still going to pack the stands when they can. They're going to buy the gear, and they're going to support the club. And smart Bears fans like myself, somebody that's been with the team for over 40 years now, showing my age, know what it's going to take to turn this team around, and that's to sell the team, and it's just not going to happen.
All right.
You're not going to let it go.
No, you're exactly right. Let's go to the Houston situation. Like I said, things seem dire. The report today.
Look at this.
And it's picked off. Chad Henne throws it. Cleveland has the ball back at the 20-yard line, so the Browns are in business. And the big-time story, Patrick Mahomes out with concussion protocol. He will not return to this game. So right now you would have to think the Chiefs could be on the break of getting knocked out of this game right now. Of course, 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
And I blame Andy Reid 100% for that play call. They were running the ball right in Cleveland's faces on the last drive with Henne went down the field. Now instead they decide to let the old man throw deep into double coverage, get the turnover, and Cleveland's got all the momentum in this football game, looking for a big upset, granted with Mahomes out, but still looking for a big upset.
Absolutely. We're supposed to get Ozzy the Sports Junkie on, so we'll get him on in just a little bit. But anything else, we talk about the Houston situation. Deshaun Watson looks like that relationship is over with. He could be traded. And then on top of the report today, J.J. Watt could be accommodated with the trade. This Texan situation is just really, really bad, right?
It's pretty much start over at this point. You know, I have no problem with J.J. Watt wanting out of Houston. I thought that would be a great thing. He's a great player, been awesome not only in the community but for the team themselves. I'd like to see him get on a competitive team and make a run on a winner. Let's get him off that team.
Yeah.
And you know, this Deshaun Watson thing, there are some teams built. Miami is built right now to make a not the guy. And from what I've seen, granted, it's a small
sample size.
Exactly.
I mean, it really is a small sample size, a small body of work. And I agree with you on this. They really messed up with a Ryan Fitzpatrick. He showed that he could be a starter in this league. I get it. He's inconsistent for the Miami Dolphins. I think they pulled the trigger a little bit too soon. And then on top of it, if you're not sure about a Tua being your starting quarterback, he's a first-round pick. Give up another first-round pick. You get a guy named Deshaun Watson, 25 years old in the prime of his career, led the NFL in passing on a garbage team like the Texans who are going absolutely nowhere. Tua would buy into it. Watson is not. And the reason why is because he went to the organization, gave his thoughts about who you should hire as a general manager and a coach, and they basically did the same thing they did to him last year by getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, what do you even think about that, Pete? So let's say they say, Miami goes, we'll give you Tua in our third pick in the draft, because obviously they have the number one pick in the draft from Houston. So
Sure.
Houston would get their pick back, and they would give up Watson and get Tua. That's it. That's an interesting thing. And then maybe swap some picks in the same draft or get another number one somewhere down the line. I would do it in a heartbeat for Watson. He's one of the best players in the game. He should be playing for the Chicago Bears right now, but Ryan Pace is blind and decided not to watch Clemson's championship games against Alabama.
Yeah, obviously. All right. So again, to update the score, 22-17, Chiefs over the Browns. But again, Patrick Mahomes out with a concussion. He will not return to the game. What else, buddy? What else did you see?
I was looking at the Bucs schedule for next year. Boy, Pete, if we can get all the fans back in the stadium, the place is going to be packed. You play a lot of the East teams. You play Dallas. You got the Giants here. You got the Bears from the Central. That place is going to be rocking next year, especially if Brady comes back. And the only way I can see Brady not coming back would be something that you would love, unbelievably you would love, is if the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl this year.
And I definitely think they can win the Super Bowl and will win the Super Bowl, becoming the first team in NFL history to do it. Of course, Brady has had his struggles versus the Saints, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. In your opinion today, prediction time, can he get it done? Can he get over the top? The Saints, are they going to lose this game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I do like the Bucs' chances in this game, and I like them more today than I did yesterday and the day before. Earlier in the week, I did have New Orleans winning this game. I think it was 31-27, something like that, but I think I'm going to flip the script, not because I'm on Bucs Report. I just have a feeling this offense is going to click a little bit more than New Orleans is. I think one of the key factors, obviously, is the offensive line. We talk about this game in and game out. Who's getting more pressure? If Breeze can move the ball down the field against that questionable secondary of the Buccaneers like he has both games this season and throughout his career against this secondary, which is, Pete, that's the weak part of this team.
Yeah.
You have to admit it. Have they had some good plays? Yes, they have. They might need some big plays like they had in that Packer game to keep this Saints team down and be able to establish the running game.
Yeah.
This Buck team has got to be able to run the ball today to have a chance to win, because you can't have Brady going back 50 times. And yesterday, back on that Buffalo game, flipping, if they don't establish some level of running game, 16 rushes for 32 yards, where it didn't even look like they were running the ball once.
Yeah.
You have to have some level of balance in the National Football League to win. And the reason why Buffalo was able to pull that game out, because Lamar Jackson will never win a Super Bowl, or probably even come close to winning a Super Bowl, because he just doesn't have the brain for the game or the talent in the arm.
There you go. Hot takes from Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the Evolution, all right?
Hey, check us out on rocketsports-ent.com. Usually it would be in the height of hockey season right now, but, with the Rona, everything's pulled back a little bit. But keep it up. Keep looking for us on rocketsports-ent.com and KNAC.com for all your rock and metal.
All right, there you go. Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment live from the Deck Bar and Grill.
Good luck to Buck fans out there. I know you guys want this. You deserve it. It's been a long time that this team's been successful. And, stick with Bucks Report. Best pre, boast during, and best post game show out there.
Appreciate you there. Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, my Around the NFL correspondent.
Who are you bringing on next? Who are you going to bring on next?
We're going to bring on back Blake Anthony. We're actually going to go to my perspective, his perspective on Tom Brady here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Don't forget, get out to the Deck Bar and Grill. Great food, and Cedric will take care of you.
There you go.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of My Perspective with your host from Sports Talk 49, Blake Anthony. Check out today's My Perspective and let me know what you think. Make sure to follow me on social media. Enjoy. TB12, my, have you done it again? Getting called out by a rookie, winning a playoff game. Their team hasn't been to the playoffs in 13 years, and just pure excellence in this game as you went 22 for 40, 381 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Let's look and see some of those throws from that game. Check it out. On this play right here, Tom Brady's pressured by the middle linebacker inside the A-gap. Leonard Fournette goes to pick up the block. Defender is able to slip off and still get into Tom Brady's face. Tom Brady stares down the eyes of adversity and just drops a dime in there to Chris Godwin. Just look at this. 2 defenders, Chase Young on his back, linebacker in the front. And Tom Brady does what Tom Brady does, is deliver dimes. And this one is a dime right in the bread basket over a defender that Chris Godwin unfortunately drops. Here's the 43-year-old version of Patrick Mahomes. I don't mean in the size it looks. I mean feet work and the ball going one direction while your body is going the other. Here, Tom Brady is forced to step up in the pocket. Linebacker's getting into the drop. Tom Brady is sliding to his left and is able to throw the ball back right to Mike Evans, which is a perfect completion, pinpoint accuracy right in between the 1 and the 3. Somebody said they wanted TB12. Well, you're going to get TB12. Here, Tom Brady's making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage to Mike Evans. He takes the snap here, sends the motion. Now he takes the snap, goes back in his drop, snaps kind of low. Now check this throw out here. Good Lord of mercy. Tom Brady's getting hit dead in his chest between the numbers and still is able to deliver a dime in the bucket, throw it to none other than Mike Evans, right in the hands for a big first down.
Welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web live at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs, it's Advance. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Who do we have today? What's going on? You got a birthday today? Go ahead and get into that mic a little bit.
I do. Hi, everybody. My name is Jolie Gallagher.
All right, Charlie?
Jolie.
All right, Jolie, thanks a lot. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Thank you.
Are you a football fan? Or are you a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm from Union, Kentucky.
Okay.
And I do love my Bengals.
Okay. You love your Bengals. So
but I was born in Cleveland.
You're born in Cleveland. Okay. Okay. All right. So you're watching the Cleveland Browns right now. You're Cincinnati. You're Tampa Bay. How do you feel about this matchup? Of course, Brady versus Breeze, 43 versus 42. How do you feel about it?
I feel like Brady might have this. I don't know.
You don't know.
We'll see how it goes.
See how it goes. All right.
Yeah, it's fun.
So you having a good time on your birthday here at the Deck Bar and Grill?
I am having a blast. I just bought a condo down here.
Okay.
On Isla del Sol. It's an amazing place. I came to the Deck Bar 2 days ago for the very first time, and I love it.
It's great, isn't it? And we got here, you got Cedric Robinson, the GM of the Deck Bar and Grill. Great food, great service here. And we're live on Bucs Report on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. A 68,000 following on Facebook, of course, live on Facebook, YouTube.
It's your birthday today.
It is my birthday, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Happy birthday. I want you to do me a favor out there really quick. Give me a prediction on this game. Bucs versus the Saints. You could be good luck here on your birthday. Bucs pull this out?
Bucs have it, baby.
All right. By how many points?
7.
Okay, there you go. Thanks a lot for coming on the evolution of Sports
Jolie,
Talk
that's
Television.
for you, Miss Jolie. That's a birthday card from the deck. We
Okay.
love our guests.
Thank
we
you.
love all our favorite people here. And she's one of our new favorite people here that just moved to this area. So you're going to see a lot of this face in my bar.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. I hope you enjoy, and definitely come and see us on the post-game edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television, all right?
Deal.
All right, sounds good. Happy birthday. There you go,
Have fun,
Jolie.
everybody.
Do me real quick here before you go. Say you've been on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, live on Bucs Report. Can you remember that?
I've been on the Sports Evolution Sports Buck Talk Report.
The Sports Web on Bucs Report. How about that? We'll keep it simple.
All right.
The Sports Web on Bucs Report.
The Sports Web on Bucs Report.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, Jolie. All right. Happy birthday.
Thanks for having me.
All right,
Have
guys.
a good time, everybody.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Give those cans to him. We'll get Mr. Blake Anthony on. Of course, that's not Travis Bailey. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Mr. Blake Anthony back here. We'll get some more fans on here, read some more comments as we are only, about 45 minutes away from game time. Bucs versus the Saints, a great breakdown of Tom Brady. Is this the best you've seen Tom Brady play in a Bucs uniform, what you saw last week?
I think even Tom would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. He looks like he's fluid. He's not thinking anything extra, and he's just delivering dimes.
Yeah, he is delivering dimes. We got some other fans around here. Want to get them on. But go ahead and talk about, once again, this matchup. Let's keep on going back to it. Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. In your opinion, do you think Mike Evans can definitely have a good game today versus Lattimore? Does he have to have a good game today, or is it on Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown?
I know Mike Evans is looking forward to making some plays more than what he's had in the past. I know Mike's, is all about the team and not himself. So if taking himself out with Lattimore is the game plan, they will do so. But it's going to be a cumulative of everybody, depending on what the coverages are, what opportunities break for each guy. But as far as Mike Evans, I know Mike Evans getting off in this game would help out Tom Brady a lot, so it wouldn't put so much stress on everybody else, because that's only one person taking up Evans instead of rolling multiple bracketed coverage towards him and all that. But
yeah,
it's just take advantage of whatever the Saints give you. It's pretty much, as everybody knows, what this game is going to be about. Protecting Tom Brady, because once you do that, everything else is golden.
How do you feel about this game right now? Patrick Mahomes going in concussion protocol, will not return. Kansas City 22-17, big third down, 3rd and 4 for Kansas City. Can Cleveland pull this out and stop them? Or is Kansas City going to go on and win this game?
I believe the Browns can do it.
Well, let's see. We're watching the play right now. Open phone lines.
Oh, it's going to be a slant right here.
That's what it looks like it is, and they're backing
right
up for it.
Make the
and he's got the first down. There you go. Big time first down. 3:13 left in the game. Again, open phone lines here on the Advanced Auto Parts Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. What's some other matchups that we should be paying attention to, in your opinion?
One of the key matchups, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, whoever he covers.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Miller's been able to beat him deep. He can get beat deep. Scotty beat him before in the past and gets if you can't make catches, make sure these guys get pass interference you and get yards and penalties off of them. That's key as well. As you said, they're in the lower 20s and pass coverage. It's mainly because they're never asked to cover it. So people don't pay attention to how lackluster the secondary is. You have older Jenkins back there who pretty much quarterbacks the defense, along with Demario Davis, a well-seasoned veteran. I've been a fan of him for a long time. Just a lot of people are seeing how good he is now. Just unfortunately, he's on the Saints. But that's how it works. Those are key matches. Demario Davis, whoever's playing that nickel position, because obviously Patrick Robinson is out.
Right.
That hurts.
Which is big, which is huge.
Janoris Jenkins will give up catches and yards, as Mike Evans has torched him before when he played for the Giants. So there's matchups there. It's just all about getting time to throw because these DBs can be very well victimized.
Absolutely. All right, let's go. Is Hill officially ruled out? We talked about that. He is. Read these comments, so I want to make sure we get to the other ones here.
I wish you could kind of flag it.
I know. I wish you could. Ronald Jones can't hold on to the football with two healthy hands. Agree with that? That's what Pocket Pool says.
If you're talking about catches, I agree. But are you talking about running the ball? That's the only thing that scares me.
Well, it's not his hand that he carries the ball with, right? It's his other one.
It's the other one.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's no, he's
gracious.
It was a jailbreak.
Myles Garrett there with the sack. And Chad Henne, Michigan fame, of course, another Michigan starting quarterback goes right into the sack there by Myles Garrett. So
no doubt.
Yes.
What were we talking about a minute ago?
Yes, we were talking. Right, exactly.
You said, whose line is it anyway?
It's goodness gracious, but it seems like Cleveland is doing everything they can.
I think
to make
everybody's
this a close
watching
game.
this game.
I really do. I mean,
this is what you want. Are you not entertained?
Have you been entertained by the first two playoff games on Saturday night?
I can't really complain about any of the playoff games. A lot of them have turned out what they were. Everybody was rooting, except for the Chicago game. You didn't really get much out of offense, but you knew what you were going to get in that game. But their defense did come up perform. That I know a lot of people are going to still talk about that Ravens offense. Lamar Jackson, regular season champ, playoff chump again. Can't deliver throwing the ball.
Is he ever going to get it done? Is he a guy that just can't throw the ball consistently from the pocket? Is that offense ever going to work out to where it's going to be able to fool teams, or is he just what he is? He's just a running quarterback that can't throw the ball consistently from the pocket.
What you hope for, and I'm going to take it back for some of you guys, is the Randall Cunningham effect. The Philadelphia Eagles relied on his legs. See, once you get older, you start getting banged up a little bit, and you decide you don't want to really get whacked like that anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe I should focus on reading defenses and throwing the ball. It's much like Mike Vick as well. But Mike Vick had a cannon.
Sure.
That was the one thing. He was lefty and had a monstrous arm. But that's what you hope for, Lamar, because right now he's young. The young guys rely on their athletic ability.
Sure.
He's not really reading and processing, or he does. It's just really quick. It's not patient, not waiting for things to develop, throwing receivers open. He's not doing that yet. So you're just relying on his athletic ability, and in result, you're getting these playoff performances.
Yeah, you really are. So, again, the game starts about 6:40, so we have a little bit of time here. When it comes down to coaching, Sean Payton has definitely had the Bucs number. Why?
They do what they say. You take away things that you like to do and exploit what you're weak at. You've been weak at left tackle. You've been weak at offensive line. You play press coverage, man coverage on the receivers, and force balls to guys that aren't open yet or are covered because you don't have time to throw the ball. I mean, that's pretty much it. Take away the run and go up on them and force them to be one-dimensional. Bucs can't be one-dimensional and make it easy for the Saints.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's see here. The New Orleans Saints or Rocky Balboa versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Ivan Drago in a 15-round fight. This is how this game is going to go today. I think it's the other way around. I think Ivan Drago dominated Rocky Balboa, and the Bucs are Rocky Balboa at this point, and they basically have got their head kicked in, especially the last matchup, which I think the first game was a little bit closer, right? It was a little bit closer.
Yeah, the Mike Edwards turnover on the special teams is really what was a defining point in that game, even after the pick six.
Right.
That was really the killer. But it was much closer.
38-3.
You notice I didn't even mention it.
So to me, the Saints are Ivan Drago, my friend, and not the other way around. So I think you've got the teams.
Or Mr. T the first time versus Rocky.
We need 30 points and 2 interceptions. Agree?
I agree. One of the keys I had for victory, scoring off of turnovers, not just turnovers, scoring off of turnovers.
Look at this. Chad Henne diving for it. Did he get the first down?
Short.
He looks like he is short. And they gave him what a spot they gave him. I thought he got it and he lunged, but boy, he got hit good. So we'll see here, but let's see if this is a helmet-to-helmet shot.
No,
it's illegal, and I think
he's short. That's a good call.
I think he's short.
That's a good call.
I think he's short. But who knows? This is a big call here.
MJ Stewart, former Buck on the play.
Yep, we need 30 points and 2 interceptions. So going back to that, when did Deshaun Watson get hired as a part of the front office? A big reason the NFL is good and the NBA stinks is that the players don't dictate when and where they will go.
You want to talk about that?
Let's talk about that, but let's see the spot here. And
Shit
they
is short.
are short of
Yeah,
fourth down. A major decision by Andy Reid. Do you go for it here, or do you punt the ball back to Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns? And he looks short right there.
Yeah, look at the ball.
Yep,
It's
the ball is short. It was a good call. We're live
It's a good
here
spot.
at the Deck Bar and Grill in
It's a
Isla
good
de
spot.
Sol. You got to love playoff football as we're awaiting Bucs
Former
versus the
Buccaneer.
Saints. And whoever wins this game plays the Green Bay Packers. We'll get back to that in a moment. But the Deshaun Watson situation, can they repair that, or is that basically by the wayside? And are you surprised with the report today that J.J. Watt could be accommodated with the trade?
Actually, my guest speaker I have on.
Yeah, we can. I think she wants to come on
You
and
wanna
talk
come on?
some Bucks, don't you? Yes, she does want to come on. So, but I'll tell you what, you stay right there. We'll get you on. Yes, I'm directing on and
So you
off
look
here.
much better on camera than me.
Well, that's very true about that. And I'm just going to go and fire those kids.
Oh, all right, I get that. All right.
I'll fire the candidates for that. But talking about the Watson situation, as she's distracting me on purpose, I know she's doing it. She's good at it.
Whose line is it again?
Will you shut up and be quiet?
I'll jump into that.
And they're going for it, and they got the first down with Hill, and that is it. The Kansas City Chiefs. And it's a simple rollout play by Andy Reid with Tyreek Hill. It looks like the Cleveland defender was lost in the sauce on that. In fact, it looked like the same play from Green Bay yesterday where they do a motion and the corner doesn't follow, and it's just academic. He's
There's
right
nobody there.
There's nobody
There's
there
nobody
on a
there.
Tyreek Hill. It's amazing to
No
me.
longer Riverboat Ron, it's Riverboat Reed.
It really is.
Very bold.
Riverboat Reed there is Travis Finley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, just enjoying it.
You play to win. You play scared, you lose.
You do.
You play to win.
Unbelievable.
But we're talking about players and calling shots.
It's over.
And I can't remember who posted that on social media. He said the days of just shut up and play are over. That's an interesting conversation, because if you just sit there and don't say nothing, like, obviously there's problems in Houston. And Deshaun Watson hasn't said nothing for many years. And if you should know from the get-go, if J.J. Watt is coming on calling out people in press conferences, you know there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know there's a problem, because that guy is if you say team, he's the photo.
Sure.
He's the photo. So there's an issue there. And if they're not really focused on rebuilding, like, as a player, you only get so many years to play. At any given time, your season can end. You only get a certain amount of years. And Deshaun Watson understands that. J.J. Watt went to him and said, "I'm sorry we wasted one of your years."
Yeah.
That was big. I don't know if a lot of people paid much attention to that, but that's true. You only get so many. And the way he played, no, it's amazing every time you watch it. On who? MJ Stewart.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Well, that's maybe why he's in the Browns uniform right now. Maybe that's why MJ Stewart. Goodness
MJ Stewart.
gracious! I'm looking at the Browns, and they're like, "You got to be kidding me!"
The one guy you should cover.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to have to catch that pass. It's got to be Mikael Hardman. It's got to be anybody else but Tyreek Hill.
So Chad Henne pulls it out there after Patrick Mahomes goes out on concussion protocol, not returning to the game. Andy Reid in the system continues to work, so they're moving on to the AFC Championship game to face the Buffalo Bills. Is there a possibility you don't have Mahomes in that game? Can Chad Henne beat the Buffalo Bills?
Can he beat it? Oh, absolutely not. I'm gonna say that right now. Chad Henne, he looked like he knew he wasn't gonna win that game.
Oh.
If there was a mic on Chad Henne, you could say, "Thank God I made it out of that one."
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, unbelievable day of playoff football here, and Tyreek Hill right on the spot. I don't know how you not cover that guy, but they didn't cover him. He was wide open, and
Game
Chiefs
over.
are moving on. Yeah,
Game over
to face the Buffalo Bills. So we talk about coaching with Bruce Arians and Sean Payton. Can Bruce Arians get over the top, finally get back to the NFC Championship game? Of course, taking the Cardinals with Carson Palmer. You kind of compare the years, if you will. Carson Palmer having a big year. Was it 2015?
You talking about with Arians?
Yeah, with Arians and the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I know the first year wasn't too good for him. It was that second year.
It was 2015. He took them to the NFC Championship game. Of course, they lose to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina goes on to lose to the Denver Broncos in that defense with Peyton Manning.
I believe Jonte that you interviewed was on that roster as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He coached. He played under Bowles and Arians.
Do you think this Bucs team, with the momentum they have offensively, defensively, we got some questions, but can Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles do enough coaching-wise to out-coach a Sean Payton and a Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator of the Saints?
I believe they have the recipe. It's executing.
Execution. Really it's all about execution.
It's a two-part system.
Right.
The coaches can come out with the perfect game plan. Now, if these guys decide to get on the field and be shell-shocked and forget what they were told, then that's a whole nother story. But a lot of the coaches get blamed for that, even though they had the perfect recipe for the game and pregame. So I mean, everybody's got to do their part. No dumb penalties. You can't turn over the ball. I mean, it's the same stuff as always, especially against this team. You've got to find a way to get these guys to turn over the ball, the Saints, because they haven't been able to do that past two matchups.
Yeah, again, so let's kind of reset here. You've got Aaron Steiny as your right guard situation because Alex Kappa went on the IR. Ronald Jones is going to play in this game, the victim of volume. Not really any more big time injuries. You get back Devin White. You go on the Saints side. No Taysom Hill, who's definitely a big part of their offense with the gadget plays and some of the things they do. And he was very good in that second matchup at Raymond James Stadium. And Latavius Murray, which to me is a bigger injury than what we have talked about, because basically you have that change of pace running back. And the Saints, the last time they met the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, went over 100 yards rushing, which, again, is uncharacteristic of this defense. This defense takes pride in being the number one unit and holding teams under 100 yards. And you can do that and put the Saints in the situations where it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. That's the manageable situations for this defense. But if they're in manageable situations, it becomes that much tougher. But once again, talk about those injuries and the impact for the Saints against the Bucs.
It's huge, especially with the power game. Like we said earlier, it's interesting to see who's going to be running those power plays for the Saints. Will it be Kamara, which it probably will be, unless they have somebody else coming up off the practice squad or whatever they're going to play into that position or already on the roster. So it's interesting how they supplement that. I expect some jet sweeps and things like that to maybe counter that. But they're going to it's probably going to end up being Kamara just running those power plays.
All right, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Want to go back out to my live here. Hello, gentlemen. Go Bucs, says Kevin. Sandra Nagel, my mother, thanks a lot for tuning in. We're going to get a guest on here in just a moment. She's going to come on. She's been on the Sports Web before, the evolution of Sports Talk Television, as she has her Brady jersey on, listening to the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area with Travis and all kinds of guests here. Go Bucs on Bucs Report. And the best sports announcer, Peter Blake. Thank you very much. My agent, your check will be in the mail. Love you, Mom. Let's go out to Darryl Floyd here. Miami should just keep the quarterback that they have right now. Darryl also says no team in the NFL has ever lost to the same team 3 times in the same season. Go Buccaneers, go. Although that's not true. The last time that happened, that's very cute there, Amanda. The Saints beat the Carolina Panthers in 2017, 3 straight chances. And in fact, you go inside the number, 63% of the time a team does beat them 3 times. But Tom Brady, you got to feel good about it, even though he struggled versus the Saints. This is postseason Tom Brady.
Yes, it's postseason Tom Brady, and this is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
This is the guy who shows up in the playoffs, delivers clutch performances. So we'll see how it turns out. Drew Brees has it as well, but lately Drew Brees has been lackluster in the playoffs, getting knocked out early, I think twice to the Vikings, as a matter of fact. So we'll see how that turns out in this matchup, because I know the Buccaneers are going to be ready to rock and roll. I know she's itching to get on, so she's going
to get on here. Tabitha Young says hello. Hey, guys. Michael Walker says go Bucs. One of my good friends is definitely going to get on. If you have a question for us about this matchup, want to give a prediction, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs, it's Advanced. Here, I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony, Sports Talk 49. You going to come on here? Are you going to come on? Yes, you're going to come on.
Yes,
okay. I'll tell you what. Let's. Hi, sweetie. How you doing?
Hi.
Okay.
Hold on a sec here. Hold on. Go ahead. You got to get on that mic right there. You got to get on that mic.
I don't know.
You're going to. Okay. So here we go. Put these on right there.
Fuck my life.
Easy now. We can't curse now. We can't curse. Amanda Gonzalez, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Are you good?
Yeah,
Okay. What do you think about this matchup, Brady and the Bucs?
we're gonna win.
You're going to win? How about by how many points in this game?
7 sounds great.
7 sounds great. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think she's a little bit shy at this point. So let me go out to the phone lines here. You want to take the call?
I can answer questions. Yeah.
Okay, you can answer. You gotta be good now. No cursing.
Oh, I behave.
Okay,
I'll
no
behave.
Okay.
I got this, guys.
Okay. All right. Where are you calling from? You're on with yours truly. That is not Blake Anthony, by the way. That's Amanda Gonzalez.
I see her. I see her. She got a Tampa Bay. She look okay.
She
Hey,
does.
how you doing, Mr.
Hey,
Blake?
thank you.
I'm doing good, Shane Young. How are you doing? Welcome to the evolution.
Great. Hey, listen, if I hope this game right here was just as good as the last game, boy. We in for a treat.
Well, no, I agree with you on that, and that's what it comes down to, a good start by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and of course they haven't been able to have that besides maybe the first matchup with the Saints. That last game, 38-3, was just awful.
Horrible. It was horrible.
And Brady has struggled. So do you think Brady gets it done today with these offensive weapons?
Yes, I do. Now he comes out. He got his weapons. He got his back to the wall. If you lose, you go home.
Yeah.
So that's why. now
I
he
agree with
steps
you,
up.
sir. We got this.
Yes. This is 20-year veteran. He's the GOAT.
She is the
He's gonna
GOAT.
prove why.
He absolutely is the GOAT in this matchup. Be good. 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So we'll see how he plays against this tough Saints defense. You got a prediction here? Anything else, buddy?
Okay, yeah, like I said, they come out. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a tough game, like I said. But then, like I said, it's going to come down to the end. Maybe a last possession with Tom Brady going, putting it in. I'm going to go ahead 28-23 Tampa Bay.
28-23. Let me go ahead. You like that? Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Shane, we'll see you on the post-game edition, all right?
All right. See you later, Mr. Blake.
All right. Thank you very much. There you go. All right. So is that what you're thinking? Get into that mic there. Don't be shy. Look into that camera right there.
Absolutely. I agree with him 100%.
100%.
That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
That's what's going
All
on
right.
tonight.
7 points there. Amanda Gonzalez says here on the Sports Web. Thanks a lot for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I will see you off air. We'll get some wings for you there. We'll get Blake Anthony back on. Look out there. Sweetie, there you go. You just never know who's going to show up at the time here at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla de Sol. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony. She's kind of shy, but she's not really like that in real life. She's not, but I think she's shy on that camera.
Everybody's got 2 personalities.
They do. And she's saying, I don't know that much about football. There's even people that watch football that don't know that much about football. She likes soccer instead. So, all right, let's go back out to the web ends here, read these comments, and we'll see how long we're going to stay on here with the Sports Web, the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Go Bucs, says Ted. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Pocket Bull says 7 on the road. I want what she's smoking. Well, come on now. We can't 7 on the road. I mean, I think there. No, not you. There was a previous there. I know. She said 7. The other lady said 7. 7 points. Are you feeling like 7 points? Some people feel like they can win this game outright.
You talking about the Bucs just win outright?
Yeah, win outright.
You have a chance to. The Bucs have done it before with less. It's just they haven't put it all together when they come against the Saints, and the Saints have clearly come out more prepared in the games than the Bucs have. It's obvious.
Right. All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49 here live on Bucs Report. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, sir. My name is Corey from Dinwiddie, Virginia. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. Getting ready for a Bucs versus the Saints divisional matchup. What do you see in this game?
Well, I'm hoping for our defense to step up tonight. If we can get after Drew Brees, I think we got a good chance of winning this game. And I like to see Evans and Chris Godwin have a good game too.
Evans and Godwin have a good game. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to Evans, and that's been, the big time to watch for. Mike Evans has had his difficulties versus a Marshawn Lattimore. Can he break out of it? The last game I remember was when Fitzpatrick was starting, and I believe that was 2017, 5 catches for 51 yards, including a long bomb there. But besides that, he's been relatively shut down and relatively silent, and I feel like that has to be a big-time factor there with going with an Evans there because it kind of opens up your offense, right, Blake?
Absolutely. If you go to Evans, they have to shift coverage because if Marshall can handle him a one-on-one, that still leaves them in the scheme they want to run.
Yeah.
Is Mike Evans, is he 100% tonight, or is he still hurt?
Good to go.
Well, he's good to go. He's still
Good to
dealing
go.
with the hyperextension of the knee, but you looked at a player that, even not being 100%, still went over 100 yards receiving. In fact, broke the record for Keyshawn Johnson, which is impressive. I definitely think that we'll see how he plays tonight, a tough matchup versus this back end of the Saints. What else, buddy?
Will Ronald Jones, will he play tonight?
Ronald Jones is a go tonight. He is a go.
Good,
I heard he's a go.
good.
So Ronald Jones is a go. The victim of volume is definitely a go versus the Saints, and we'll see what kind of impact he makes. You have a prediction, Bucs versus the Saints?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say 27-24.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's a low scoring, but that's what I'm hoping for. So
That's what you're hoping for.
see.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate the call, man. Y'all have a good night and enjoy the game.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you right there. Appreciate you, Greg. Keep on calling. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Look at the Nickelodeon because they were showing that. Did you like how they set that up for the playoffs last week with Chicago and New Orleans? Was that too much?
I think it was too much.
Me too, man.
I think it was too much.
Me too. I get it. You want to cater to the kids with all the slime and all that other stuff. Look, at the end of the day, it's football. You can try to paint it as a rosy picture, whatever you want to do, but it's a battle.
This isn't the playing ground.
Right.
It's a battlefield.
Right.
You dropping bombs out
Oh,
here.
geez.
Not ooze.
Right, exactly. 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to the webheads here. Let's go. Got my Evans jersey
There you
on. Let's
go.
go Bucs Nation. Lisa Guerrero says, let's go Bucs. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for her. Christian says 31-28 Buccaneers, baby. Randy Moss says Misador. I think he's talking about that previous game there with the Chiefs. I guess Tyreek Hill mossed that Browns defense. I guess that's what he's saying.
Great catch on Ward.
All right, let's see here. Ted Barnett, great show, and go Bucs. Ted Barnett again. Hey, Bobby Jeffrey says, with the focus being on Evans, Godwin, and Gronk, either AB or Miller will step up to be the difference maker this game. Bucs win 41-38, 27-17. Bucs win. Harry says, play Tampa without the points tonight. Bucs win outright. That's our professional handicapper who was here before. Wanted to get him on, didn't get a chance, so we'll get him on next week and throughout the week here. But he says play them outright. You feeling that confident at this juncture?
Ooh, it's tough for me to say. I want to see how they come out, what kind of energy they come out with. But it's definitely a possibility. I know Devin White has been very advocate on social media. I know he's ready to rock and roll after missing 2 games, one of them the playoff game. So fortunate for him, he's able to play in a playoff game this year. I expect a lot of high energy out of this defense, and maybe Devin White can get some sacks on Drew Brees.
How much of a problem for you, and we kind of went with this before, and we're going to reset it, the tight end matchup of Jared Cook, who's really and he's always had his way. Cook has always had his way being a very productive tight end for the Saints. People don't talk about him. They talk about Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. How important is it for this Bucs team to do a good job on Cook at the tight end position?
I've been a fan of Cook for a very long time. He's been on some bad teams for a lot of years. So a lot of people don't know who Cook is until he got to New Orleans.
Yeah.
But Cook, he's older now, and he doesn't make the same plays as he used to make. But he will go up and get the ball. He can run after catch. A lot of those things he can still do, but he's a lot older now, so you can play coverage on him. You can get him to turn over the ball, which the Bucs have done before. But you just have to take away the things that Drew Brees wants to do. Cook will go up the sidelines on you. He'll work the middle of the field. You just got to try to limit those big chunk plays from him and force Brees to go places he doesn't want to throw and jump those routes and be in attack mode for once. Don't play a soft, I don't even want to say soft. Don't play reactive. Mm-hmm. Be proactive this game. They have to be proactive this game. And if you're going to make a mistake, make it big. At least you're trying to win, just like Andy Reid did against the Browns. If you play scared, you lose. When you play to win, good things happen.
Why has Carlton Davis done such a good job, not only this year, but against Michael Thomas? Is it because of the physicality, not even letting him get off there, basically pushing him at the line of scrimmage, forcing off the timing? Has that been the reason why the Bucs have done such a good job against Michael Thomas this year?
Absolutely. He's a perfect corner for him. And he plays those inside routes, and he should have had a pick six on him one time that he dropped.
Yeah.
But he's the perfect corner to match up in that matchup. Not to say like where he thought he could cover Tyreek Hill one-on-one, which he quickly learned he couldn't. But that's a much better matchup for him, especially with the physicality, the way the routes that Michael Thomas likes to run. They fits into his game plan. Only parts that he really gets beat at is, of course, what the Saints like to do. They like to drag guys from all the way outside the numbers all the way back across the field. And it's hard to cover. But again, that comes from getting pressure. You don't allow those.
Yeah, exactly. Second all time with 300 passing yards. We're just looking at the graphic here.
16 minutes.
116 career games, Mr. Tom Brady. And you feel like him being the ultimate competitor. And once again, he's had his struggles versus the Saints. He's ready to go. He's ready to prove something. And I think it goes back to what Jeremiah Wiggins kind of said here, and I want to get to this. Again, open phone lines, but want to talk about this, didn't really get a chance to talk about it. But former tight end Jeremiah Wiggins, or Jermaine Wiggins, his brother, Jermaine Wiggins here, says that for Tom Brady, you could say this, he sits in his mansion down in Tampa. This is the most important game of his NFL. Not even NFL, but his football career, he told WEEI's The Greg Hill Show. He goes on to say, because it's all about, he's been tied to Bill Belichick in winning championships and winning big games for his whole career. He also says now he's in the position where he went to a place and the expectations for Brady and the team went through the roof. You're now in position where it's a divisional game, a game that everybody expects you to have won prior to the season starting. And now if you lose in the divisional game against a team that has already beat you twice during the regular season and they beat you badly, now you know what the national narrative becomes. Brady can't do it without Bill Belichick. You agree with that? Is Wiggins on to something?
He's a competitor. And I believe Tom Brady holds some type of personal vendetta in this game because that's what he is, a competitor. You've seen Michael Jordan make up scenarios in his head that motivate him. Tom Brady doesn't need it. You got your butt spanked twice by this team.
Yeah.
And you had a terrible performance, especially in both games, in my opinion. Played decent in the first game, but we'll just chalk it up to bad performances in 2 games. I want to pick 6 in that first one. So this game means a lot, and it's for all the marbles. It's in the playoffs against a team you lost twice to. Your career's tied to Belichick. All these things are going through Tom Brady's head right now. I can guarantee it. And so today he's just going to try to play cool, calm, collective, and do what he needs to do to win this game and rely on his guys to see the same things he sees.
All right, there you go. So Ted Lofton says, let's get this win, Buccaneers. Jay Walsh says, drink me a beer. Wish me luck in my lockdown. Okay. Communist state. Yeah, okay. All right, Ben says from Hanford, California, repping Bucs all day.
Right,
let's go. Let me go ahead and do that. My troll here says, go Saints, bye-bye Bucs, and I'll say bye-bye to you.
You know, Roger, Roger, you're like the good luck charm because every time you
really
say that,
is.
they keep winning. So keep up the good work,
Yeah,
Roger.
just keep on doing that.
Keep
Absolutely.
up the good work.
And they say 75 passing touchdowns in the playoffs is the most among quarterbacks since 1950, and that would be between Breeze and Brady. So that's how important this matchup is between both of those quarterbacks. Do you think we will put a spy on Alvin Kamara? Could you see that? That's what David says. A spy on Alvin Kamara.
I don't really like spies because they're going to counter-react that. When they move him out the way, that means they're going to know there's a hole in the zone there. Do you mix it in? Yeah. Just to run a spy all game? I don't believe so. You just jump the routes when you see him come out there because you know that's where Breeze wants to go. You take away him and take away 50% of their offense. In my opinion, he's 50% of their offense if Alvin Kamara versus running and pass catching.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Misador says, David Moser, maybe sometimes, but a full-time spy, I don't see it.
He just said it.
Harry says, play Bucs +1 for the first half as well. 2 very solid plays. Bucs offense will be in sync tonight as we're only 13 minutes away again. Taysom Hill out. Jay Glazer talking about it. Latavius Murray out. Ronald Jones in. So we'll see how that all plays out. The quad. Thank you very much. You know, that's a. And we're live at the Deck Bar and Grill. I think we're ready to go here and see what happens and cover every aspect of this game. And I definitely think the pressure is going to be on. And in your opinion, who's more pressure on? Is it the Saints with their inability to get over the top and their problems that they've had not getting to the Super Bowl? They've been bounced out in the first round, divisional rounds, even the NFC Championship. This could be Drew Brees' last game as a New Orleans Saint. So who's really the pressure on? Is it on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or more so the Saints because they're playing at home and because it could be Breeze's last year and because they've had nothing but difficulty in the playoffs?
It's on the Saints. Nobody expected the Bucs to do anything this year. If you remember at the beginning of the year, they expected them to win, make the playoffs, but not compete for anything. Here they are competing for something. Drew Brees hasn't said it, but I'm about 90% sure that he's going to retire.
Yeah.
Make some phone calls to see if that's true. But
all right, let's hold that thought. Let's go out to our phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is
What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Doing good. How do you look at this matchup, Bucs versus the Saints, my friend? Yeah?
Yeah, feeling good. Listen, I can feel the energy. I'm sure you guys are all down at the deck right now. You guys are feeling the energy.
Yes.
It's all over social media, all over anyone that's watching. They're waiting for this game. Two of the greatest quarterbacks out here, top 3 all time with these quarterbacks. And I think it's going to come down to the interior D-line for Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Interior defensive pressure. We need to see what Nacho does. We need to see what Sue does. If we get Benning in, if we get Davis in, those are going to be the big deals to get Drew Brees off the spot where our outside pressure can get to him. Levante David, Devin White, big game. I think they'll stop Alvin Kamara, especially since they're down. The Taysom Hill effect won't be out here today. This is shaping up to be a Tampa game. Watch the underdogs now. The underdogs are just coming alive, and it's going to be a great game right now. So you guys tell me, will we do anything to get that interior pressure? What have you seen?
I mean, I'm gonna go out to you. You talked about stunning before. Could you see delay blitzes by Devin White and possibly Levante David? If White's not doing it, could David do it? I mean, what can you do to generate that pressure? Because we know how great Drew Brees is versus the blitz with over 100 rating. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why the Bears had success. They were rushing 4 and getting there. So, to answer his question, I would have to see a guy that has probably the most speed on that defensive line. That's Khalil Davis, coming on stunts, ins and outside, trying to create open lanes for somebody else. The guy's ready to go. I don't know why he doesn't play that much, but he's healthy. And I think they're missing out on an opportunity by not playing him and using it in stunts if they don't have it in the game plan today.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where you got to go, and there's got to be some type of balance there. You can't play zone. Of course, you can't blitz them. There has to be somewhere where you disguise. And you talked about it, shifting coverages, and it comes down to, again, it's so simplistic, but the execution of this defense being in the right place at the right time, because if you're not, Brees is such a crafty veteran, and that's why he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He will pick you apart. If you make mistakes, you may have been able to get away with those mistakes against some bad teams, but you won't be able to do that versus Brees and the Saints.
Hey, also, this next thing, first couple of snaps, I'm sure everybody on offense, we're going to have our eyes on Finney just to see exactly what he does. I'm hoping that he's just as much as a mauler and a bouncer and just a mean-spirited guy. I'm looking for him to channel the Richie Incognito out there against this Saints defensive line. So let's see what we get. Let's fire those cannons, guys. Go Bucs.
All right, let me fire those cannons. There you go. Mr. Deshaun Tisdale, new show here Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, the 411 with Deshaun. Let me go out to the webheads here. Mr. Jay Retcher, my Connecticut School of Broadcasting brother, doing big things with Retcher and Beckles. Ian Beckles on 620 WDAE 95.3 FM.
Let me
big
go on
game
Stenny a little bit here. Stenny comes from his background.
Well, hold on. Let me read this comment here.
Okay.
I've got Bucs 37-34. Great show, guys. Keep up the great work. Thanks a lot, Jay. Definitely don't be a stranger on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Now, talk about Aaron. Is it Stenny or Steiny? Stenny, right?
I'm gonna have to ask him. I'm gonna say Stenny.
I thought it was Steiny.
Makes him sound Jewish.
Stenny, Steiny. He's got to play.
Jewish.
He's got to play big. Will you shut up and be quiet?
It makes it sound like your boy Steinbrenner.
Right. Yes.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's okay. Yes.
He comes from Tennessee, which is run heavy offense. So I assume that Tennessee picked him up because he has that background. And so I would expect him to be Kappa-like. But like I said before, it's going to be a lot of communication in there. And I expect Steiny, his very first start, family supported him, everybody calling him, as you saw in those interviews he had. I think he's really ready to go this game. And I think he should outperform very well.
Yeah, I mean, and it comes down to it again for me. It's balance. It's running the ball. It's getting off to a fast start. You don't want to go into a situation like he did in the second matchup, and I always go back to that. Does he want to get on?
No. He's heading out.
Oh, he doesn't want to get on. Okay. What did he say?
No, he's saying he's heading out.
Oh,
He
okay.
just came to hang out.
Oh, it came to hang out. Okay. Well, good. All right, good. And then you can hang out here at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol here on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony at Sports Talk 49. That show can be seen and heard here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock. Again, get off to a good start. Establish your running game. No mistakes. Brady has to play better. He has to. He knows he has to. And that's why I feel confident in it. So offensive player that stands out, defensive player that stands out, and then we'll get out of here on the evolution.
Offensive player, I have to say Tom Brady. Defensive player, that's a good one. That could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Ooh. Defensive player. I have to go Shaq Barrett. Why it seems odd he hasn't done much. That's why. Because he hasn't. It's been very quiet. And if you can't get up for this game, you've had a lot of hope coming from last year into this year with Shaq Barrett with the 19.5 sacks, leading the league, leading the team record. I think he shows up here. I think Pierre-Paul is still banged up some. I expect him to make some plays. I expect these guys to get their hands on passes too. You can't get to the quarterback, getting his passing lane. Remember, he is shorter, so those getting the hand tip balls could lead to interceptions. So I expect Shaq Barrett to do something today.
All right, prediction. Let's go prediction time because we're coming up here at 6:40. Yep, it's almost prime time. Who wins and why?
Ooh, and score, right?
Yep.
Ooh. I'm going to go 30-24 Buccaneers. I think they get turnovers. I think they score some points off of turnovers, and they finally get to Drew Brees because he's still ailing those rib injuries. I believe they get everything going because they're on a roll right now. I think everything's in sync.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. Can you please ask him about his tweets on – I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't know who this is here, but I'm not going to even read it because this is just weird.
Is that the Twitch?
Shaq Barrett, yeah, that's Twitch. And if you're New Orleans and win the toss, you defer. Agree with that?
If you New Orleans and win the toss,
you defer?
Yeah, of course. They want to see if the Bucs can score first.
Okay, I'm just looking at some of this stuff that someone's coming out here on Twitch. I'm not going to read it. My prediction for the game, Bucs win 31-27. This is the reason why you get Tom Brady in the first place. He has a big game. This Bucs team is definitely playing right now out of their mind. If they shut down Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown. I don't think Drew Brees is the same quarterback. I continue to say it's his last game in the Saints uniform. Yep. Bucs win this game. They're better on the road, 31-27. For the great Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, I'm your host, Peter Blake. Enjoy the game.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your freaking mind? Holy cow! 41-27. Oh.
Talking about this matchup, I couldn't wait to get here, and I can't wait to watch this game unfold.
Round 3, why not?
I'm still bullish on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I really am.
They knocked us down.
And tonight is, I don't want to say it's the worst, but it's pretty bad.
But we ain't been knocked out yet. So how we're going to respond? Let's set up. because we taking this fight the distance.
Highly anticipated. It's NFL royalty that we get a chance to watch.
Every man out here tonight got a pivotal role in this game right here. You focus on your job, you tell me.
We cheer on the floor to the beat, yeah, they play your song.
Brady's going to keep and take it in for the touchdown. Here's an
Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of the belly boys in the cut, in the ride. Tell them boys get live. Yeah, we coming through. Everybody better move.
See, it's about a mindset.
Give me all you got, man. This bigger than the playoff. We need to settle down. We punch first. Always. We strike first.
I was saying, see that dude, man. I said, all right.
Man, we at the on the floor to the beat, yeah, they play your song.
The ball is out and Tampa Bay has
On the floor to the beat, yeah, they play your song.
Lay it all out there on the line. Tampa Bay, let's get live.